Chapter 1572. Hurry up and give me the divine water of heaven and earth. The three experts from the underworld were pleasantly surprised. They did not expect to find so many treasures here. It had been a month since the 5 elemental treasure lands opened. Most of the treasures in the various domains had been dug up. They were just trying their luck and did not expect to find the divine water of heaven and earth here. Inji was grinning from ear to ear. With the help of the divine water of heaven and earth, his strength would increase tremendously in a short period of time. With the opening of the Emperor Road, the competition within the immortal orthodoxies was especially intense. If one was not strong enough, they would be eliminated. The stronger one's cultivation was, the more benefits one would gain. The divine water of heaven and earth was enough for Inji to undergo a major transformation. Wu Qili looked at the three experts from the underworld as if she was looking at an idiot. Were these people blind? Couldn't they see that this was the infamous young demon king? Robbing him here? They must be tired of living. Brother Inji, this girl looks pretty good. At this moment, someone noticed Wu Qili. Due to being burned by the sun's divine fire, Wu Qili's face was covered in dirt and her black hair was much thinner. However, even in this state, Wu Qili was still very beautiful. Not bad, not bad. Inji's greedy eyes scanned Wu Qili. His smile widened as he looked her up and down and laughed. I didn't expect to find something unexpected. Beauty, what future do you have with him? Come to me quickly. Wu Qili glanced at Inji from the corner of her eyes. She was disgusted by his undisguised greed. To her, even if her fate was miserable and she was suppressed by the young demon king, Wu Qili, was still one of the top 3 beauties in the 9 Cauldron continent. She was arrogant and did not even care about some pseudo-immortals, let alone Inji from the underworld. What's with that look? Inji's face darkened as he saw Wu Qili's disdain and arrogance. His face darkened as a hint of ferocity flashed across his face. He said coldly, "You're looking down on me? Don't worry. I'll show you how powerful I am in bed later." You think you're worthy? Wu Qili sneered. Her words were merciless. Be *starred. Inji was furious. How could he not take care of a woman? Wu Qili had completely enraged Inji when she suddenly became the pearl of a large family. He was prepared to force himself on her. He raised his hand and slapped Wu Qili's face. He wanted to teach her a lesson first. At this moment, Su Yin had already sealed the divine water of heaven and earth. He glanced at Wu Qili, who had hidden behind him in a flash, following which he waved his hand and blocked Inji's large hand that was striking down. The void trembled. Inji's battle prowess was not weak. The 2 palms collided and muffled thunder rolled. Brat, you must be tired of living. Inji glared at Su Yin angrily and said in a ferocious voice, I'll give you a chance. Hand over the woman behind you, or you can all die. The 3 experts of the Underworld clan released a murderous aura. What kind of clan were they? What kind of power was it? As one of the top immortal sects in the immortal heavenly domain, how many forces and clans in the world would dare to provoke them? You have to look at the owner before beating the dog. Su Yin smiled. You talk big. Don't go overboard. Beat the dog. Inji was so angry that his face turned red. He growled, No wonder you're so arrogant. You're just a slave. You're way too arrogant. Inji's words were vicious, but they were no match for Wu Qili's. She sneered, Who do you think you are? What qualifications do you have? Gugu covets my beauty. Even if I become a bitch by his side, I won't even look you in the eye. You. Inji almost went mad with anger. Her words were too vicious. She would rather be a bitch than look at Inji. He was a young, true immortal. Was he that weak? Big brother, why waste your breath on him? Just suppress him. This woman doesn't know what's good for her. She really thinks she's a phoenix. The other 2 cultivators of the Underworld clan were enraged. Their eyes were filled with murderous intent. Some of them had already taken out their treasures to suppress them. What's going on? Suddenly, a powerful aura descended. A level 6 true immortal appeared. His aura was as eerie as the 9 hells. He's finally here. Inji's tense mind relaxed. He said, Kid, I know you're strong. The reason why I'm wasting time with you is to wait for my uncle to arrive." With that, Inji laughed at the expert. "Uncle, this kid dug up a lot of divine water of heaven and earth. I'm worried that something might happen, so I asked you to come and hold the line." As he spoke, Inji noticed that the true immortal of the 6th level of the underworld was looking at Su Yan with a terrified expression, as if he had seen a ghost. His legs were trembling, and his legs were weak. "Uncle, what's wrong?" Inji's expression was a little strange. What could scare a level 6 true immortal? This old man wanted to slap Inji to death. "Even if you want to die, you don't have to call me here, do you?" Who else could this white-clothed youth with a faint smile be other than the young Devil King? He was so scared that his soul dissipated. He quickly retreated, leaving this place. "Come back." Su Yan's expression changed. His eyes widened. Even his calm voice contained a terrifying wave that rushed toward the true immortal of the underworld. Plop! The level 6 true immortal was terrified. This was a killing star that only the young paragons of his race could match. Although he was at the level 6 true immortal realm and could dominate a region, facing the young Devil King, he wouldn't be able to withstand a single slap. He couldn't hold it in and fell to the ground. He said in horror, "It has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with me." Inji and the other two felt suffocated. They only felt that the world was spinning. Who did they offend? A powerful level 6 true immortal could only tremble in front of him. Wu Chili's expression was complicated. The young Devil King was really fierce and intimidating. With his name alone, how many people in the entire undying heavenly domain could compare to him? Even the Celestial Court's enemy, the experts of the underworld, were like mice seeing a cat. This was the fierceness and brilliance. "Spare me, Devil King. I'm just a nobody." In short, this expert of the underworld was terrified. How could he not be afraid of death after living for so long? Young Devil King. Inji and the other two felt their scalps tingle. Their hearts were filled with fear and uneasiness. They fled madly, not daring to stay for even a moment longer. Boom! Su Yan stretched out his hand and pressed forward. It was truly a hand covering the sky. The golden hand covered the sky and covered the sun, covering everything. In his palm, scriptures appeared, grand beyond compare. No matter how fast the 3 cultivators of the underworld were, they could only despair in the face of Su Yan's giant hand. The bodies of the 3 powerhouses exploded one after another, turning into a sea of bloody light. This level 6 true immortal was terrified. He didn't dare to breathe loudly. Although the underworld was powerful, he knew very well what kind of person the young Devil King was. Su Yan looked down at him from above. He caught a familiar aura. Su Yan was a little surprised. He carefully sensed and sensed it. Su Yan was completely moved. His eyes were filled with anticipation as he walked over step by step. Boom! The true immortal of the underworld knew that he couldn't survive. He erupted with all his strength and brought out all his trump cards, wanting to blast open a door to escape. After all, he was a 6th heaven true immortal expert, and the aura he erupted with was rather shocking. Unfortunately, he seemed extremely weak in the face of Su Yan's golden hand that descended from the sky. All of his techniques were destroyed by Su Yan's palm. "Spare me." He became more and more terrified. Wasn't it rumored that the young Devil King's primordial spirit was heavily injured and was about to die? Why was his combat strength still so strong? "Answer me about the reincarnation medicine." Su Yan's heart raced. He caught a familiar medicinal property. It was very likely to be an ultimate treasure medicine, the reincarnation medicine. Could it be that the underworld had such a powerful treasure medicine? Or did they find such a treasure medicine in the golden treasure ground? I don't know. The underworld expert stammered. He didn't understand what Su Yan was talking about, but he knew what the reincarnation medicine was. "You don't know, or you don't want to say?" Su Yan's eyes flashed like lightning. The reincarnation medicine was of great importance. If his reincarnation, Great Tao, was nourished by the reincarnation medicine, it would surely transform into an earth-shattering divine ability. This was Su Yan's natural divine ability. How could he not take it seriously? Of course, the most important thing was that the half-finished reincarnation medicine that the prehistoric Big Brother had consumed back then might not have solved his problem. If he really came across the reincarnation medicine, Su Yin would fight for it with his life. I really don't know. Su Yin frowned. This person was drenched in cold sweat. He was terrified. He shouldn't know about the reincarnation medicine. Then, Su Yin's finger suddenly reached out and crushed his forehead. He wanted to steal the imprint of his sea of consciousness. However, the moment Su Yin touched his primordial spirit, this person's sea of consciousness burned fiercely. It was filled with a terrifying, forbidden aura. Oh no! Su Yan's expression changed. There was a seal on his primordial spirit. This was a sixth heaven true immortal expert. Could it be that he was someone's old servant? It was too late to say anything now. His primordial spirit collapsed, and even his sea of consciousness evaporated. Su Yan didn't get any useful clues. His expression was gloomy. He searched through these people's storage spaces, but he didn't find anything related to the reincarnation medicine. He must have come into contact with the reincarnation medicine recently. Otherwise, there wouldn't be such an aura on him. Su Yin said coldly. Could it be that the young paragon of the underworld obtained an ultimate precious medicine? It's most likely impossible for a complete precious medicine. Maybe it's the essence of the origin. Could it be that the underworld has a complete ultimate precious medicine? In short, Su Yin was slightly disappointed. The clues he had found with great difficulty were cut off just like that. A complete reincarnation medicine, the legendary strongest precious medicine, the ultimate precious medicine. Su Yan's eyes flashed with madness. This was related to the prehistoric Big Brother. He had to get it even if he had to risk his life. This thing was enough to make the entire world go crazy. It was enough to make a primogenitor expert attack at lightning speed. It was an ultimate precious medicine. It was too precious. Every stalk was cultivated by seizing the fortune of heaven and earth. It would take a long time for them to be fully nurtured. Chapter 1573. As soon as Su Yin left, more than a dozen cultivators rushed over. The 5 elemental treasure lands covered a large area. Due to the influence of the field, it was difficult to see the entire treasure land. Now, a group of people from the Odd Heaven sect had arrived. The leader was an old man in a silver robe. He was old and had a head full of gray hair. His body was hunched over, and he was leaning on a silver walking stick with a dragon's head. His expression was dignified. This is bad. Did someone beat us to it? The Odd Heaven sect cultivators saw the sky blue jade vein that had been excavated, and their faces turned ugly. The silver-robed old man in the lead looked carefully, and his face gradually turned gloomy. Someone took it. He was furious, and then he coughed violently. His body staggered, and he almost fell to the ground. Old ancestor, please don't be angry. The young men from the Odd Heaven sect were shocked and quickly helped him up. This was the Odd Heaven sect's great ancestor with a different surname. He did not have much time left and was nearing the end of his lifespan. He had severed his own life to come to the Emperor Road battlefield in search of opportunities and opportunities. Unfortunately, his harvest in the 10,000 tribe battlefield was limited. When he saw the 5 elemental treasure lands, Wu Hongshou felt that there was hope for another life. As long as he could gather the complete set of 5 elemental treasure medicines and refine them into a furnace of rare treasure pills, it could extend his life and restore his body's functions to youth. Wu Hongshou's face turned ugly, and the veins on his body bulged. He growled, "How can I not be angry? Someone took away the fortune, and the thing inside should be the divine water of heaven and earth. However, the other party left in a hurry and did not excavate the sky blue jade vein. Let's go to the next destination, quick." Wu Hongshou had already excavated 2 of the 5 elemental treasure medicines. As long as he could excavate the other 3, he would be done. Who would have thought that something like this would happen? This made Wu Hongshou very angry. However, when they arrived at the next destination, the group of people had strange expressions. The next treasure land had also been excavated. Be asterisk starred, isn't he too fast? The other party must be a grandmaster of the Odd Heaven sect. Wu Hongshou's face was ferocious, and he knocked the walking stick with the dragon's head on the ground. The walking stick's power was extraordinary, and the ground rumbled as it shook. His expression was mournful. Who was it that ruined his plans? Even the third source had been dug up. There was nothing left. The other party's actions were so fast that the younger generation of the Odd Heavens sect felt a little scared. One of them cried out in surprise, "Unbelievable! To be able to dig up 3 secret medicines in such a short time. The other party, it must be a great grandmaster of the Odd Heavens sect." Without a doubt, Wu Hongshou's attainments in occult arts were extremely high. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to dig out the other 2 types of 5 elements precious medicines. Now, Suyin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The other fortunes had already been taken by others. However, he truly did not care about the 5 elements treasure herbs. With Su Yan's true immortal state accumulation, he had no use for the 5 elements treasured herbs at all. It was just a pity that he had lost 2 of these rare treasures. There was no way he could gather all the 5 elements treasured herbs. "Ancestor, what should we do?" The young people of the Odd Heavens sect had ugly expressions. Someone said in a low voice, "I think it's the work of other experts from our sect. With Ancestor's status and prestige, we should be able to get it back. At most, we can use treasures to trade." Hearing this, Wu Hongshou shook his head and said, "The 5 elements treasured herbs are too precious. Who would be willing to trade them? Even if I reported it to the sect, I'm already so old. The sect won't give me the 5 elements treasure herbs. Moreover, from the way they dug it up, the other party's methods are quite ruthless. They're definitely not ordinary people. Although the sect's holy son can do it, they are not here." The young demon king. Soon, Wu Hongshou thought of him and said coldly, "It should be him. With the young demon king's mastery of the heaven and earth pattern, other than him and the Odd Heaven sect, there is no one else. There shouldn't be a third force that can do it. Ancestor, we can't deal with the young demon king. Although he's like a lamp that has run out of oil, if he really fights with his life, there are very few experts in the entire Emperor Road battlefield who can suppress him." Wu Hongshou's disciples smiled bitterly. After all, Wu Hongshou was the Odd Heaven sect's ancestor with a different surname. He did not want a sect to know about the 5 elements treasured herbs. If that was the case, there was no hope for them to deal with the young demon king. "Ancestor, since we've already obtained 2 of the 5 elements treasured herbs, can't we just use treasures to trade for the other 3? Someone asked. This made Wu Hongshou shake his head. Strictly speaking, if any of the 5 elements treasured herbs were missing, it would be difficult to find a substitute. Even if they did find a suitable material, it would be difficult to fuse them together. The 5 elements reinforced and restrained each other. They had to be nurtured in the same place to form the 5 elements treasured pill. This was a 9th grade medicinal pill that could extend one's lifespan by thousands of years. The majestic medicinal power it contained was enough to restore Wu Hongshou's old body to its youth. He had lived for a long time. Although the value of the Odd Heaven sect was great, Wu Hongshou's lifespan had withered 10,000 years ago. In order to extend his lifespan, he had used up all his wealth. Spread the news. Say that the young demon king is here. Wu Hongshou said hatefully, "You've ruined my plans. The young demon king and I cannot live under the same sky. Maybe I can find a chance to kill him." A sinister coldness bloomed in his eyes. An old ancestor of the mystical gate at the Grand Luo realm and a grandmaster of the mystical gate. If he really wanted to be ruthless, he could create a terrifying killing trap to deal with Su Yan. Su Yan, who had already entered the 5 elements treasured lands, shuddered. He thought, "Who's missing me?" He vaguely sensed a kind of resentment. What if 5 elements treasured lands? If it was outside, I don't know how many immortal sects and orthodoxies would fight for it. Su Yan exclaimed in amazement at the magnificent mountains of the splendid land. In this place, the essence of heaven and earth was extremely rich, containing the 5 elements immortal Tao. After all, it was a 5 elements treasured lands that had been nurtured for a long time. Unfortunately, it had been more than a month since it opened, and the heavenly treasures nurtured by the various realms had been completely dug up. However, Su Yin had obtained 3 sets of origin source medicines, which was already an extremely shocking harvest. He was prepared to find a place to refine the divine water of heaven and earth to heal the injuries of his primordial spirit. The immortal fetus stone has not completely matured yet. I still have a chance. At this time, Su Yin was close to the core of the 5 Elements treasure lands. When he saw the scene here, a huge stone was lifted from his heart. At the place where the 5 elements intersected, a large number of experts had gathered. There were also young supreme beings, and the atmosphere was a little oppressive. In the direction of the source of the fortune land, the order of heaven and earth bloomed. The 5 elements' immortal Tao was densely covered in layers, containing extremely strong killing intent. It could be said to be a rather dangerous place. This was also a naturally formed 5 elements field. In the field, a strange stone lay horizontally, and no clues could be seen. A piece of 5 orifices strange stone stood between heaven and earth like a humanoid creature. Its 5 orifices shone, releasing the essence of the 5 elements. After being nurtured for 1,000,000 years, it was about to take shape. There was already a faintly discernible and terrifying divine energy leaking out. It was currently in a sealed state. Once the day of maturation arrived, it would definitely produce all kinds of terrifying abnormal phenomena. This strange stone is really frightening. Su Yan's breathing was heavy. This was a rare supreme treasure, and it was worth a gamble. Even if it was just the value of this strange stone, once he seized and refined its essence, it would be an extremely terrifying growth for him. I have to stand at my peak condition. The divine water of heaven and earth is enough to stabilize my primordial spirit for a period of time. Otherwise, my battle prowess will be damaged, and it will be difficult for me to display my strongest battle prowess. Su Yin left quietly. In this fiery red world, he opened up an underground cave. He took a deep breath, sat cross-legged in the cave, and took out the sky-blue divine water. Every drop contained a huge amount of essence, accompanied by a refreshing medicinal fragrance. Just a few sniffs would make one's spirit feel refreshed. This was a sacred healing medicine that could only be found by chance. Su Yan's primordial spirit walked out. His golden primordial spirit was in tatters, and there were many cracks. When the internal energy was released, the pain was unbearable. Su Yan's face was slightly pale. The primordial spirit was closely related to the flesh and blood. Once his primordial spirit was damaged, his physical body would not be able to withstand it. It really hurts. Su Yin grimaced. The sword cut through time. In the end, the impact on Su Yin was too great. He gritted his teeth, and his primordial spirit glowed. He opened his mouth and swallowed drops of the divine water of heaven and earth. So comfortable, Su Yin cried out. His tattered primordial spirit was astonishingly nourished, and his waning soul chi also started to strengthen. Su Yin laughed. It was indeed miraculous, as expected of a companion of the 5 Elements treasure lands. The divine water of heaven and earth had been deposited for 1,000,000 years, and its effects were quite shocking. Next, Su Yin swallowed a portion of the divine water of heaven and earth every once in a while. His primordial spirit quickly became full and sparkling. His golden primordial spirit shone brightly. There were no visible wounds, but the inside of his soul body was still riddled with holes, and there was a terrifying sword of time. One sword cut through time. Su Yin smiled bitterly. This time, he had really screwed himself. The heaven-destroying sword path was too powerful. If it weren't for his strong will, it would have been extremely difficult for him to withstand it. He felt that he had to find a primordial spirit heavenly skill. The Sutra of the Future was no longer suitable for him. It's too difficult. Su Yin sighed softly. It was impossible to obtain the Sutra of the Future. After 3 days and 3 nights, Su Yan's soul body shone brightly, and a vast primordial spirit light shone down, covering Su Yan's flesh shell. It was like a primordial spirit battle armor, and it merged with Su Yan's body. At this moment, Su Yan's aura skyrocketed, and his body was filled with terrifying immortal Tao light. He was no longer comparable to the previous him. Huh, Su Yan laughed loudly. The most troublesome problem had finally been solved. Su Yan's entire person was exceptionally powerful and extraordinary. His radiance was boundless, and his battle aura was peerlessly powerful. His battle blood was already boiling. Su Yan naturally wouldn't miss out on the immortal fetus stone. The five elements treasure trove was also relatively restless. The news of the young Devil King had spread here, and it had caused a lot of commotion. The young Devil King actually delivered himself to my doorstep. I hope you don't disappoint me, and don't run away with your tail between your legs. In a certain area of the five elements treasure trove, the Skirich young master's expression was cold. His body was suffused with killing intent, and his group of followers were terrified. He was truly angry. Why did Su Yan come here? Could it be that Wu Qili had betrayed him? If so, this matter had to be resolved quickly, or else it would be a big blow to his reputation. At the same time, in the five elements treasure trove, several young supreme beings wanted to see what the young Devil King looked like. The young supreme being of the underworld lineage also occupied this place. His expression was gloomy. If he really dared to come, he wouldn't mind killing him directly. Young Devil King, Su Yan, Xia, Kunlun. The saintess' clothes fluttered in the wind. Her immortal appearance was peerless, like a dream or an illusion. She was holy and otherworldly, like a fairy from the 9 heavens who had descended to the lower realm, inviolable. Her snow-white and sparkling feet were bare, and her beautiful legs were long and slender. She was an outstanding beauty, and she murmured, I still remember that in the trial road where the lowest level people struggled, there was also a brat called Xia Kunlun. The saintess didn't think they were the same person, but she was especially curious about the current strongest descendant of the celestial court. Chapter 1574. Has it matured? Su Yan's eyes suddenly opened. Divine light shone from the depths of his eyes. He could clearly see that within the 5 elemental treasured lands, the vast, lovely land, the energy in various places was rapidly drying up. Whoosh! Su Yan rushed into the clouds from his seclusion. He looked down at the earth. The energy in various places was drying up. Many mountain rocks had cracked, as if they were about to become a wasteland. Su Yan was shocked and moved. The immortal fetus stone that was born from the 5 elemental treasured lands was quite extraordinary. It stole the energy source of the entire 5 elemental treasured lands. At the final moment, the treasured lands were about to self-destruct along with the birth of the immortal Tao Stone. The immortal fetus stone is located on the dragon vein of the 5 elemental treasured lands. The day the immortal fetus stone is born, the 5 elemental treasured lands will collapse. Su Yan was shocked. He was shocked by this rare treasure. This method of stealing the creation of heaven and earth was truly extraordinary. After 1,000,000 years of nurturing, it was finally about to take shape. In an instant, Su Yan struck down. His figure followed the direction of the rapidly drying earth vein and rushed towards the source. At the same time, a shocking scene appeared in the direction of the source. Energy that was as vast as the sea and different colors surged towards the core area. It created a shocking paradise. 5-colored divine light was erupting, dazzling and blinding. It had practically formed a 5-colored ocean. The energy of the 5 elemental treasured lands gathered at the core area. Among them, a strange stone released auspicious light. The entire stone trembled, and its 5 orifices shone. It spat out a vast amount of energy. Its absorption rate was too terrifying. Even Daluo true immortals would be amazed. This was a method of stealing the creation of heaven and earth. The strange stone shone brilliantly. What a strange stone. It contains the substance of creation. Its value is unimaginable. This is a supreme treasure that is hard to find. I never thought that I would be able to witness the emergence of the immortal fetus stone with my own eyes. I don't know who will take it away in the end. This thing is enough to become a peerless, true, immortal, and establish a terrifying foundation. It might even have great hopes of becoming a Daluo golden immortal in the future. The whole place was in heated discussion. Many unrelated people were here to pay attention. Although they had waited for a month and were destined to miss some, they felt that it was worth it to personally witness the birth of the immortal fetus stone. Boom! The wondrous stone completely changed. Its 5 apertures shone, carrying the great Tao of the 5 elements. Symbols of the great Tao of the 5 elements appeared, immediately triggering irregular scenes. Lightning streaked across the sky, raging flames roiled, seas rose and fell, endless life force appearing. The 5 elemental energies were mutually reinforcing and restraining each other, but under the immortal fetus stone, they were perfectly fused together. In the end, this wondrous stone rushed high into the sky. Its entire body trembled greatly, and some old skin immediately fell off. Piece after piece of stone skin flowed with brilliant colors. This was also a rare stone material. The eyes of the entire world were all focused on the matured immortal fetus stone. It was too resplendent and brilliant, as if it was going to form a body of flesh and blood, turn into a supreme existence that overlooked the universe. It was extremely miraculous. It's as if it has a life of its own. If this immortal fetus stone continues for a long time, it might be able to nurture a creature. I fear that it might possess exceptional talent. Su Yin rushed to his destination and saw the scene of the wondrous stone ripening. He was incomparably shocked. This was a wondrous stone nurtured by the heavens. It blossomed with resplendent divine light and swallowed the world's energy source. At the same time, it also triggered a terrifying battle. One after another, formidable figures charged towards the immortal fetus stone. Su Yin saw the holy maiden of the sovereign sect. She was peerlessly beautiful. Her jet black hair fluttered in the wind. Her figure was slender, and she was a national beauty that was devastatingly beautiful. Even though this was the second time he had met her, Su Yin was still stunned. She was worthy of being called a proud daughter of the heavens. She had countless pursuers, and she was even the holy maiden of a great sect. Her identity and background were quite frightening. Rumble! An enormous bang exploded out. Along the way, a few young true immortals fought each other and collided intensely. The holy maiden of the sovereign sect was going against the young exalts of the netherworld, and the battle had just entered its climax. Terrifying auras that covered the sky poured down, causing others to feel suffocated. 2 great experts with peerless combat strengths wanted to obtain the immortal fetus stone. The holy maiden of the sovereign sect and the holy maiden of the heavenly water order have joined forces. 2 peerlessly talented geniuses. The entire scene was in an uproar. This battle was rather shocking. The heavenly water order was also a flourishing sect. Even though it couldn't compare to the sovereign sect, this sect's inheritance was ancient, and the holy maiden of this sect was also peerlessly talented. Even though her appearance and bearing were slightly inferior to the holy maiden of the sovereign sect wasn't an ordinary person. However, the Tianxue Saintess was not to be trifled with either. Like the reincarnation of an ancient water god, she stepped on the blue sea of stars and created 81 water dragons that rushed towards the young supreme of the immortal race. Kill! The young expert of the undying clan roared, and it shook the stars that filled the sky. His blood was exuberant, and his flesh shell was dazzling like an indestructible body. Even though this number 1 exalts of the Xian people had once lost to him, he was still terrifying at the true immortal realm. He was like an indestructible war immortal, and his golden hair fluttered wildly as his roar shook the blue sea of time and space. The holy maiden of the heavenly water order and the holy maiden joined forces and attacked the 2 young exalts at the same time. The battle directly entered its most dangerous stage. Yin Juanhao of the Netherworld is the son of the sect master of the Netherworld, and he even has the extreme Yin physique of the Netherworld. In the peak battle, the 4 young exalts fought against each other. Yin Juanhao roared angrily, and his arms shook, tearing the sky apart. He performed 2 supreme seals that descended from the sky and suppressed the holy maiden. The holy maiden of the sovereign sect possessed peerless beauty and peerless beauty. She was like a goddess of the nine heavens, and she was peerlessly formidable. The dark light that covered the sky exploded apart as her snow-white palm soared into the sky and shook towards the two seals. Get lost. The Holy Maiden's face was cold, and her aura became more and more terrifying. Her snow-white body emitted a pure white light, and it was so dazzling that people couldn't open their eyes. Without a doubt, the Holy Maiden's combat strength was extraordinary. Even the son of the sovereign of the netherworld couldn't suppress her. After all, she was ranked in the top 10 of the monarch ranking. Her body glowed, and she used her powerful combat strength to attack Yuanhao. The Holy Maiden of the Heavenly Water Order is indeed amazing. She can actually fight with Jin Yangyun of the Undying Clan to such an extent. The battle between the two was also very eye-catching, and it was hard to tell who would win. One side was exuberant, and the other side was like the blue sea and the blue sky. They clashed with each other more than 10 times, and no one could do anything to the other. Everyone present knew that the four young sovereigns all wanted the immortal fetus stone. This battle was probably going to be very fierce, and no one wanted to give it up. Perhaps 2 young sovereigns would be eliminated in the end, and the remaining 2 would fight fiercely for it. Now, Suyin wasn't in the mood to watch their battle. He was very close to the core of the 5-element treasure grounds. Suyin held the heaven-opening brush and opened the eye of heaven escape to observe the operation of the entire field. Without a doubt, he had to pass through the 5-element field if he wanted to enter it. It was very difficult to break through the field by force. Most importantly, it would cause quite a commotion. Therefore, Suyin wanted to sneak in silently and take the immortal fetus stone before doing anything else. Boom! Suddenly, the situation on the battlefield changed. Suyin was attracted, and he was slightly surprised to see that the Holy Maiden of the Heavenly Water Order had suddenly turned around and transformed into a boundless true dragon of water that charged towards the Holy Maiden of the Sovereign Sect. Holy Maiden, be careful! The expressions of the Sovereign Sect's experts changed drastically. What's going on? The Holy Maiden of the Heavenly Water Order suddenly turned around and attacked the Sovereign Sect. The Holy Maiden was charging over. This strike was extremely shocking. Junhao was also trying his best to suppress the Taishang Saintess. However, when the Tianshui Saintess attacked, the Taishang Saintess's body trembled. She was so angry that her pure white divine light burst out and sealed the heaven and earth. Even so, it was still extremely difficult to resist the joint attack of 2 young sovereigns. She trembled violently, and at the critical moment, her aura went berserk. She stretched out her palms at the same time, and extremely terrifying fluctuations flowed out. Holy Sovereign Technique. Suyin was moved, and his eyes widened as he paid attention. This was a super-secret technique that was reputed to be the most powerful ability in history. This secret technique erupted in an instant, and terrifying fluctuations rippled out as it struck the 2 young sovereigns. It forcefully obliterated their strength, and the power of the Holy Maiden forced them to retreat. My good sister, I didn't expect you to be so strong. The Holy Maiden's expression didn't change. She stood above the ocean, and her snow-white skin radiated divine radiance. She also had a beauty that could captivate even birds and beasts. Shameless, the Holy Maiden's expression was cold. She had a certain friendship with the Holy Maiden. Although they weren't close friends, they were still good friends. She didn't expect the Holy Maiden to betray her at the critical moment. Sister, you're wrong. The Holy Maiden said calmly. The Emperor Road is a place for the younger generation to compete for hegemony. People often say that I'm not as good as you. I'd like to see for myself how strong you are. She wasn't convinced. Why was the Holy Maiden always suppressing her? If it weren't for the Holy Sovereign Technique, she believed that she wouldn't be inferior to the Holy Maiden. Just the 2 of you? The Holy Maiden's dress fluttered, and her temperament became even more holy. She was like a pearl emitting auspicious clouds. She said coldly, I'm afraid you're not qualified to stop me. Ha ha! All of a sudden, the heavens swayed and the earth moved. Everything shook, and the entire world was trembling. The laughter became more and more deafening, and finally, it surged violently and swept towards the Holy Maiden. This was a supreme sound wave superpower. It was all-pervasive, and it caused the entire small world to explode. One could vaguely see the Holy Maiden's body trembling. This was an extremely vast energy, which was enough to surpass any expert's energy source. It surged like an immortal Tao dragon. It was extremely shocking. Tong Tian, young master. The whole place was in an uproar. What was going on? Tong Tian, young master, was here. The people of the sovereign sect looked terrible. Was the Holy Maiden going to face the joint attack of the three young supremes? Who could withstand it? Soon, a man in a silver robe walked over in the starry sky. He said coldly to the Holy Maiden, "Holy Maiden, I've said before that I'll hunt you down sooner or later. Now the time has come. Are you ready?" The Holy Maiden clenched her fists and said coldly, "No wonder the Holy Maiden turned against me. It's because of you. You can't even protect your own woman. Why do you have to say such things to me?" Tong Tian, young master's face suddenly turned cold. He said coldly, "What? You want to infuriate me? Wouldn't it be better if I suppress you first, and then suppress the young demon king?" At this moment, Su Yin had already made his move. He entered the five elements field and was getting closer and closer to the immortal fetus stone. "Tong Tian, young master, you talk big." He looked coldly at Tong Tian, young master. However, he couldn't be bothered to deal with him now. Su Yin had already entered the five elements field, and obtaining the immortal fetus stone was the most important thing. This was the 9th level life essence evolution fluid, which was related to the future. It was the strongest evolution fluid, and Su Yin naturally would miss it. Chapter 1575. The five elemental domains were all different from one another. Su Yin bathed in the essence energy of the five elemental domains as he walked. It was as if he had been baptized. His body flowed with innate radiance, and his essence, energy, and spirit were especially abundant. He even felt that his aura was growing stronger. This made Su Yin speechless. It was as if he had taken away some of the fortune energy from the day the immortal fetus stone matured. This made his realm somewhat restless, and he was rapidly advancing towards the 4th layer. Su Yin was surprised and delighted. He had passed through the five elemental domains, and he felt that his entire person was different. He was gushing with five elemental light, and his organs were throbbing violently, especially his heartbeat, which was like the beating heart of a giant. It made Su Yan's chi and blood surge. He couldn't help but be amazed. If he cultivated here for a few days, he could directly break through to the 4th layer, and his battle prowess would be even stronger. Su Yin had just broken through to the true immortal realm. Now that he had been baptized by this fortune, his chi and blood were full, and his treasured body was exuberant. He was especially extraordinary and powerful. My primordial spirit's injuries have improved by quite a bit. However, the sword severing time still left behind a wound that is difficult to heal. Was this forbidden secret technique created by the mysterious skeleton? Without an extremely powerful primordial spirit, one can't withstand the eruption of the sword's severing time. At this moment, Su Yin was already close to the core area. At this time, an even more shocking battle broke out in the outside world. Jinyang Yin didn't participate, and, of course, he didn't approach the five elemental domains either. After all, the situation was different now. The three young paragons had joined forces, and they wouldn't miss out on the immortal fetus stone. If they tried to seize it at this juncture, it would be equivalent to becoming enemies with the three young paragons. I didn't expect them to join forces. Is the revered saintess going to die? The five elemental treasury was also shaken, and the storm was unceasing. No one expected the Skirich young master to kill his way here. The three of them must have reached an agreement before, or else they wouldn't have joined forces to deal with the revered saintess at this juncture. What a Skirich young master! The entire world was alarmed. At the critical juncture of that person's revival, the laws were like the sea, and his aura reached the heavens. This was the eruption of the connecting heaven immortal physique. The energy and matter that poured down in torrents was like the blue dome of heaven. It was simply going to suppress the Saintis in a single exchange. At the same time, Tianxue Saintis and Yin Jun Hao also roared. They released their strongest combat power and attacked Taishang Saintis. There was no turning back. Since he had already made his move, he had to suppress the Grand Saintis. Otherwise, there would be endless trouble in the future. Boom. The void completely exploded. All kinds of divine abilities, laws, scriptures, and auras were released, suppressing everything. It was enough to destroy heaven and earth. Everything was crushing towards the grand holy maiden. He couldn't see anything clearly. Everything was a blur. Some people felt that the Saintis was most likely finished. Under such a powerful energy suppression, who could contend against it? All of a sudden, resplendent light blossomed within the surging energy storm. It was pure white and divine, its radiance reaching 1,000,000 zhang. It was as if a battle Saintis had awoken, shaking away the energy sources that filled the sky and shaking the heaven and earth. Supreme battle suit. The whole world was in an uproar. The Tianxue Saintis' eyes were red. At this moment, Taishang Saintis was completely different. Her beautiful body was covered with a snow-white battle suit that was as thin as a cicada's wings. It made her look like a saintess. She was dignified and inviolable. The sovereign sect's heirloom treasure, the supreme battle suit. This is a battle suit that only the sect master is qualified to wear. How strong is her talent? She was actually given the supreme battle suit. This is not a replica. It's definitely the real thing. The legendary supreme battle suit. Yin Jun Hao and the others were shocked. This snow-white battle suit was extremely shocking. His strength was greatly reduced by the battle suit. One could imagine how strong its defensive power was. After all, it was the supreme battle suit that was passed down from generation to generation in the sovereign sect. This caused the battle suit to become stronger and stronger. Once a disciple of the sovereign sect had it, it would be like adding wings to a tiger. Boom! Taishang Saintis waved her hand. Without a doubt, this casual attack was extremely powerful. It contained a terrifying destructive force as it charged towards the Tianxue Saintis. The Tianxue Saintis' body trembled from the slap. She lost her composure and summoned a powerful battle suit to cover her body. Naturally, it was not comparable to the supreme battle suit. This was the famous supreme battle suit in the undying heavenly domain. Taishang Saintis, no matter how strong your battle suit is, you can't escape this calamity. The Tongtian young master exploded. The battle suit was awakened. It was as if the entire starry sky was breathing. It contained the stars in the sky. Its divine might was shocking as it charged towards the Taishang Saintis. What a terrifying battle suit. It's made of the highest grade Great Luo silver essence. It's too extravagant. Many people's expressions changed. The Skirich young master's battle prowess was already exceptional to begin with. Now that he was clad in silver armor, it made him seem even more powerful. He fought with the Saintis, causing the heavens to collapse and the earth to rend. The sun and moon sank. Two experts with the combat strength of the top 10 on the monarch ranking clashed continuously. The scene was even more terrifying. Suppress. The heavenly grandmaster, young master roared. The sun, moon, stars, and the starry sky of the universe rushed out from his body. His magic power was truly shocking. Few in the same generation could match him. Just like that, he descended from the sky like an ancient star field. Supreme Saint Art. The Taishang Saintis' expression changed. The overwhelming force of the starry sky assaulted her face. Even she was about to be confined. At the critical moment, she released her most powerful combat strength. Once the exalted Saint Art was used, the great stars and sea of stars in the sky began to collapse. She was like a flying immortal from beyond the heavens. Her aura was too biting cold, especially under the contrast of the exalted battle armor. Her offensive power was matchless. Dong dong. However, what awaited her was a powerful attack. The Tianxue Saintis and Yin Juanhao decisively attacked the Taishang Saintess. Bastard! The experts of the Taishang sect were furious. They had already crushed their communication talismans to summon the experts of their sect. But could the Taishang Saintess last until the reinforcements arrived? The three top experts joined forces. Even though the Taishang Saintess was protected by the battle suit, she was still injured. Blood flowed out from her mouth. Her body trembled, and she almost fell. At the same time, everyone was shocked by the Taishang Saintess' combat strength. They had to admit that the Taishang battlesuit was extremely powerful. If it wasn't for the battlesuit, she wouldn't have been able to fight for a long time. Sister, you're high above. You're as holy as a fairy. Let me see how charming you look when you fall into the mortal world. The Tianshui Saintess giggled. She kept disturbing the Taishang Saintess' mind. Although they were once good friends, once they started fighting, they were quite ruthless. They used all kinds of divine abilities and shook the sun, moon, rivers, and mountains. Not a single one of them was an ordinary person. The Taishang Saintess' expression was cold. She used the supreme offensive power of the supreme Saint art to fight a tough battle. At the same time, she was also anxious. If she continued fighting, she would be at a disadvantage. Once she was heavily injured, she might not be able to fight her way out. Don't hurt my beauty. The Skirich young master had a smile on his face from beginning to end. At the same time, everyone could see that the Skirich young master hadn't used his most powerful battle prowess. He also knew that the Saintess wasn't that easy to suppress. He had to slowly exhaust her divine power to prevent her from retaliating before death and injuring her life. The battle was getting more and more intense. The Taishang Saintess' injuries were getting worse. Even her Taishang battlesuit was stained with blood. The outside world wasn't quiet. Many experts from the sovereign sect rushed over. However, the 5 entrances were guarded by the forces of the 3 great powers. They sealed all the tunnels and didn't allow anyone to approach. At this moment, Su Yin arrived before the immortal fetus stone. He sighed at the wonders of life. The strange stone that was born and nurtured by the heavens radiated auspicious light. Its aura of life was vast and boundless. It was like a living being that was emitting a magnificent aura of life. The battle outside shook the world. No one noticed that someone had entered the 5 elements field and approached the immortal fetus stone. Come in. Su Yin suddenly took out a huge cauldron. It was an immortal Tao treasure. The cauldron quickly enlarged. The mouth of the cauldron was large enough to swallow a mountain. Just like that, the cauldron pressed down and swallowed the immortal fetus stone. Originally, Su Yin had wanted to take the immortal fetus stone and leave immediately. He could feel that the 5 elements treasure trove would not be able to withstand the pressure and would soon collapse. At that time, a destructive tide would be born, and even the strongest person would be injured. Therefore, he couldn't stay here for long. However, just as the cauldron pressed down on the immortal fetus stone, the strange stone seemed to have a life of its own. It glowed on its own, and its orifices spewed out the light of order. It forcefully shattered the cauldron. What? Su Yan's eyes widened. This was too shocking. It shattered an immortal Tao treasure. Just how strong was this strange stone? Who's there? The fluctuations were somewhat intense. It attracted the attention of the experts in the surroundings. Soon, they were all dumbfounded. Someone was standing in front of the immortal fetus stone and stealing it. Jin Yangyan rushed over. However, the 5 elements field rotated on its own and blocked Jin Yangyan. Bastard! Who are you? How dare you? Yin Juanhao's face was gloomy. He gave up on suppressing the Taishang Saintess and charged towards his destination. So it's you, the young Devil King. You're courting death. How dare you steal my treasure? The Skirich young master's face fell. However, it was more important to suppress the Taishang Saintess now. Although Yin Juanhao had left, the Taishang Saintess' vitality had been greatly damaged. From this moment on, his aura surged to the peak. Immortal Tao laws were released like a sea. Even the battle armor he wore was fully activated. His entire person was completely different. Vast and mighty starry sea divine might cover the universe. Everyone's hearts trembled. What astonishing aura! It was simply like the roar of a peak, true immortal. Who could match it? How long? At this moment, two great experts attacked the five elements field. No matter how strong the field was, it couldn't be maintained for long. Some areas had already collapsed. Su Yin was even more shocked. He used the Milky Way gourd to fill it, but found that the immortal fetus stone's light of order was too shocking. It temporarily blocked the Milky Way gourd's absorption. This made him call it abnormal. This thing was quite extraordinary. Boom! In the next moment, Su Yin made a shocking move. He directly charged up, using his flesh and blood to lift the immortal fetus stone. The immortal fetus stone's divine light flourished. Boundless immortal Tao fluctuations descended, and it shook on its own. It wanted to shatter Su Yin. "Rise for me," Su Yin roared. The Origin Sutra circulated. His flesh shone with blazing light, resisting the immortal fetus stone's nomological pressure. In the end, he lifted the immortal fetus stone. However, Su Yin felt as if he were carrying a million mountains. His spine was about to collapse. At this moment, Su Yin discovered that the immortal Tao stone was spewing out strands of source qi. They were exceptionally heavy and could easily crush experts. Source qi. Su Yin's eyes were red. He was all too clear about the importance of this material. Although it couldn't compare to the primordial source qi that Dao Shui had given him, this five-element source qi was the strongest resource in the world. Chapter 1576. The immortal Tao stone was quite heavy. Su Yin carried it as if he was carrying a million mountains, and the pressure was overwhelming. Everyone thought that the expert who stole the immortal fetus stone was about to be crushed. But in the end, Su Yin still carried the immortal fetus stone. His treasure body shone with divine light, and his divine might was awe-inspiring. He felt a little regretful. The Emperor Road was suppressed by the order of the Emperor Road. Otherwise, he could have swept through the entire mystic realm with the 9 states heavenly cauldron. Of course, if there was no order, would the Emperor Road still exist? Under the attack of the strongest treasure, who knew how many treasure lands would be destroyed? Young Devil King. Everyone was shocked. They didn't expect this to be the young Devil King. Wasn't he a lamp without oil, and his essence spirit was about to collapse? Why did he still have such great combat power? Mother Qi. Yin Junhao's eyes were red. His aura was violent, as if he had evolved into hell. The five elements field trembled violently, and many cracks appeared. Jin Yangyun's eyes were also bloodshot. This was the Mother Qi of heaven and earth. He saw the 5 orifices of the wondrous stone spit out a stream of Mother Qi, which contained the supreme immortal Tao. It was as if the 5 ancient universes were present. Without a doubt, Mother Qi was very precious. Any strand of it was a substance that was hard to find. If it was infused into a weapon, it could greatly increase the weapon's strength. If an expert obtained it, they could use it to comprehend the supreme mysteries. Especially for a true immortal, Mother Qi was very useful. It could build a peerless true immortal body, and it was also a path to become a golden immortal. The 5 elements wondrous stone had nurtured the 5 elements Mother Qi. Its value exceeded everyone's expectations. Young Devil King, let's see how you leave. Yin Junhao gradually calmed down. Su Yin couldn't leave at all. The immortal fetus stone was too heavy, and it suppressed Su Yin's body. I'm rich. It nurtured the Mother Qi of heaven and earth. This is the strongest substance in the world. Su Yin carried the immortal fetus stone with difficulty. In the eyes of the world, he moved slowly, but in reality, they didn't know that Su Yin was standing on the Dragon Vein's route and could leave this place in a short time. Yin Junhao's words caused Su Yin's eyes to turn cold. He wondered if the reincarnation elixir had anything to do with him. It was said that the strongest cultivator of the younger generation in hell was a reincarnated being. If hell really had reincarnation medicine, it would most likely give it to a reincarnated being. The young Devil King is mine. At the same time that the Skirich young master suppressed the Grand Holy Maiden, he said coldly, "After I suppress the Grand Holy Maiden, The immortal fetus stone will belong to you, but the young devil king will have to give it to me. Get to you? Ian Junhao's expression was cold. It wasn't that he couldn't let the young devil king have it, but Ian Junhao didn't believe that the Grandmaster Skirich young master wouldn't be tempted by the essence of the source chi within the immortal fetus stone. That's right, the heavenly Grandmaster young master was just saying that. In fact, his heart was itching for action. Back then, his master had risked his life to dig out the essence of the mother chi from the forbidden land of the universe and gave it to him. This thing was hard to find in the entire world. Who wouldn't desire to obtain and possess it? How could he just give it away? You think too much. The Grand Holy Maiden was like a fairy flying from the heavens. Although her aura was a little dim, her battle prowess was still peerless. The Grand Holy Technique and the Grand Holy Battle Armor tore through the layers of obstacles and rushed towards the distant world. Where do you think you're going? The Skirich young master chased after her. Along the way, he fought a huge battle that destroyed a vast territory. Even the mountains collapsed. The Skirich young master used all kinds of divine abilities and descended from the sky. His divine aura was vast and mighty, constantly suppressing the Grand Holy Maiden. Skirich young master, you talk big. Su Yin stood at the core of the five elements field and said coldly, but your strength is indeed not much. After setting up such a big trap, you still haven't pulled in the net. Young Devil King, are you looking down on me? The Grand Holy Maiden laughed. Her snow-white skin and the Grand Holy Battle Armor merged into one, making her look like a supreme being of the present age. She resisted the Skirich young master's endless power, suppressing. Young Devil King, if you don't want to die quickly, then shut up. The Skirich young master's face was gloomy. For a moment, he looked like he was about to swallow the universe. His body was blazing as he activated the Skirich immortal physique. Suddenly, he turned into a huge figure that looked down on the universe with mighty divine aura. After I suppress you, I'll suppress the young Devil King. His methods were heavenly. His body was like a sea of stars whistling in the sky. The vast power that surged out was more and more shocking. It was simply inexhaustible. Facing the vast pressure of the Skirich law, the Grand Holy Maiden's body became dimmer and dimmer. She said, Young Devil King, why don't you and I work together and kill the Skirich brat? What do you think? Now he wants to find a helper, but does he dare? The Skirich young master said coldly, Grand Holy Maiden, I advise you not to hook up with other men. Otherwise, if you anger me, you won't have a good ending. Boom! His two palms suddenly pressed down with a huge seal in the center. The Grand Holy Maiden trembled and coughed out blood. Her body was on the verge of collapse. At the same time, the Tianxue Saintess came. She raised her jade-like palm, and a blue sea appeared. With one ferocious attack, she heavily injured the Grand Holy Maiden. The Grand Holy Maiden's armor dimmed, and her aura weakened. My good sister, you can really endure until now. This little sister is impressed, very impressed. The Tianxue Saintess smiled sweetly with a bit of pride. You truly disgust me. The Grand Holy Maiden's expression was cold. She looked at Su Yin and said, Devil King, he said you don't dare and that you're not a real man. How can you still listen to these words? Why are you still carrying the immortal fetus stone? Hurry up and come. Su Yin seemed to be watching a play. He carried the immortal fetus stone and smiled. How can I bicker with my son? Plus, whether I'm a man or not, Wu Qili can prove everything. Do you want to die? The Heavenly Master, Junior Master roared. His long hair fluttered as his chest heaved up and down violently. A raging fire was born, about to burn the entire space-time. You little brat, what are you shouting for? Su Yin shouted. The great solar realm appeared behind his head, emitting the divine light of the sun. He said, the next time you send someone to target me, remember to bring more good stuff to show your filial piety to me. Bam! Suddenly, the Heavenly Master Junior Master opened his mouth and spat out a vast river of stars. It rumbled and swept up, crashing into the five elements field that was on the verge of collapse. The entire field collapsed. At this moment, The grand holy maiden tore through the seal and retreated rapidly. You can't escape. I'll kill you first before killing the young Devil King. The Heavenly Master Junior Master waved his hand. His palm enlarged, encompassing the sun, moon, and stars, suppressing the grand holy maiden. The grand holy maiden complained. She had no chance of counting on Su Yin. Plus, he couldn't even protect himself now. This was because Yin Junhao and Jin Yanyan had already charged in. They were very close to Su Yin. The Heavenly Master Junior Master didn't forget to say, "Spare his life. I'll make him live a life worse than death. He'll regret being born in this world." Heavenly Master, you bastard. You betrayed your master and tried to kill your own father. I'll let you know how serious the consequences are. Su Yin stepped into the sky, carrying the immortal fetus stone. His aura was surging and powerful. A golden foot also stomped on the place where the dragon veins gathered. Boom! There was a deafening explosion. The entire 5 elements treasure trove shook. Many people couldn't stand still and fell to the ground. This is... Yin Junhao and Jin Yanyan were stunned. Then, the two of them trembled. The entire field exploded. Even the 5 elements treasure trove started to collapse, and a terrifying space-time crack appeared. Puff! Puff! Yin Junhao and Jin Yanyan coughed up blood. Then, they were terrified. The destruction of the 5 elements treasure trove seemed to have destroyed them. Bastard, the two of them roared. Their faces turned purple. Su Yin even disappeared. Carrying the immortal fetus stone, he used the remaining energy of the dragon veins to travel to the outside world. The 5 elements treasure trove rumbled. Along the way, everything was destroyed. A destructive storm was born, and it quickly spread across the entire treasure trove. Puff! The heavenly water saintess also coughed up blood. Her eyes darkened. She was hit by a world-destroying thunderbolt. She almost couldn't breathe. The Heavenly Master Junior Master wasn't any better. His hair was disheveled, and he was filled with hatred. This was because he had seen Su Yin carrying the grand holy maiden and the immortal fetus stone from the world that was about to be destroyed. Su Yin had fled. Young Devil King, his eyes were wide open. His roar shook the destroyed space-time. The battle armor he wore glowed, blocking the invasion of the destructive energy. He seemed to have gone mad, and his eyes were bloodshot. What a humiliation. It was fine that the immortal fetus stone was taken away, but Su Yin took the Grand Saintess away. A month of waiting and planning was all for nothing. Heavenly Master, Junior Master. At this moment, the Heavenly Water Saintess rushed over. She wanted to use the battle armor of the Heavenly Master Junior Master to avoid the violent energy attack. Get lost. The Tontian young master was in a fit of anger. He scolded the Tianshui Saintess angrily. He would not show any mercy to this vicious bitch who had betrayed her friend for benefits. The Heavenly Water Saintess was furious. Her towering breasts were heaving up and down violently. She didn't expect the Heavenly Master Junior Master to turn his back on her. Of course, she had received enough benefits. Otherwise, she wouldn't have taken the risk of offending the sovereign sect to work with him. Young Devil King, you can't escape. You ruined my plan. I'll burn you to ashes. The Heavenly Master Junior Master's battle armor was extremely powerful. It blocked off the energy attack of the collapsing world. He quickly rushed to the outside world. He didn't believe the young Devil King could run far with the immortal fetus stone. Of course, the Heavenly Master Junior Master wasn't worried about the young Devil King's life. After all, the Grand Saintess was greatly weakened. He was worried that the young Devil King would do something to her. He didn't believe that there were many men in the world who could remain calm in front of such a beautiful woman like the Grand Saintess. You can't escape. The Heavenly Master Junior Master roared. His terrifying aura kept on erupting, about to sweep across the entire treasure trove. Son, try calling me that again. The collapsing 5 elements treasure trove formed a destructive vortex. Su Yin's Chi Gate power was shocking. Together with the heaven-opening writing brush, it rebuilt the collapsed dragon vein and emitted a terrifying aura. Yin Junhao and the others paled. They seemed to see the entire five elements treasure trove being lifted up and turned into a terrifying five elements killing seal that smashed towards the Heavenly Master Junior Master. The Heavenly Master Junior Master was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. His eyes were about to pop out, and he couldn't say a word. No matter how terrifying he was, his battle armor couldn't withstand such a terrifying suppression. His entire body trembled violently, and he spat out large mouthfuls of blood. His body was about to explode. "If you don't listen, I'll beat you to death." The voice came again. The five elements treasure trove trembled violently. Countless cracks appeared in the sky. The continuous attacks were unparalleled. A dragon and a tiger were born from the destruction. They pounced down, beating the Heavenly Master Junior Master to the point of doubting life. No matter how powerful his magic power was, he was so angry that his primordial spirit trembled in the face of the five elements treasure trove's destruction. Chapter 1577. This area was in chaos. The five elements treasure grounds collapsed, causing dust and dirt to surge into the sky. After half a day, the energy ripples finally calmed down. The experts who rushed over following the energy ripples were flabbergasted. What happened? How could such a vast area be destroyed? Even a battle between peak true immortals couldn't cause such destruction. Soon, the world discovered that Skirich Young Master, Yin Juanhao, Jin Yongyun, and Tianxue Saintus, four extremely famous top geniuses, were running around the world like madmen, searching for the young Devil King's tracks. The source chi nurtured by the immortal fetus stone had actually been stolen. This caused them to go crazy. However, these people were also covered in dirt. Every one of them was more or less injured, and they were in a very sorry state. They ran around the world searching for Su Yin, but they couldn't find a single clue. It was as if Su Yin had evaporated into thin air. Especially Skirich Young Master. This handsome man's face was bruised and swollen. Someone asked, causing a commotion. The young Devil King had used a strange formation to beat Skirich Young Master several times. It was very savage. Roar! In the end, the disheveled Skirich Young Master roared. Almost a day had passed, and only the heavens knew what had happened. In short, the young Devil King couldn't be found. He felt aggrieved and furious. Even his origin spirit was trembling with anger. He had never received such humiliation before, and he was furious from being beaten by Su Yin. This matter was too big, and its influence was extremely shocking. It spread quickly, causing a huge commotion in the outer area of the gold treasure grounds. The treasure that nurtured the source chi was stolen, and the young Devil King snatched it from the jaws of Tiger. Wasn't it rumored that he couldn't make it? What's this? The Saintus was also taken away by him. This matter is serious. The sovereign sect sent a large number of experts over and clashed with the forces of the underworld. They're fighting again. A storm surged endlessly, and it was getting fiercer and fiercer. Some people said that Su Yin had suppressed the Saintus of the sovereign sect and was plotting something. This matter caused a huge commotion, and the Saintus had many pursuers. This also caused a large number of experts to charge out from the depths of the gold treasure grounds. Young Devil King, get out here. A group of protectors came, and they were flustered and exasperated. The Saintus was actually captured by him, and they were furious. Kill. Some of the experts who had figured out the truth were furious. They attacked the Tianxue Saintus and Yin Juanhao, initiating a battle of the pinnacle. There was no doubt that the Heavenspan young lord was too strong, and few people dared to provoke him. However, the two of them were still qualified to fight. Successors from immortal orthodoxies stepped forward and attacked with lightning speed. "Bastard, you're pissing me off," Yin Juanhao howled. They were the ones who were injured. In the end, this group of people didn't look for the young Devil King, and instead came to settle the score with them. Each and every one of them encountered powerful enemies. There were too many flower protectors for the Saintus. It was the same as poking a hornet's nest. The sovereign sect reaction is really swift. They intend to establish the bearing of a pure and holy fairy. Yen Kei and the others had arrived. They saw the experts of the sovereign sect roaming about in some of the territories, and they explained everything clearly so as to avoid a stain that would be detrimental to the Holy Maiden's reputation. Now, the situation had changed. Su Yin and Li had come to the Holy Maiden's rescue and helped her resolve the crisis. "She's really amazing," Yuan said in a deep voice. The heaven-span young lord, the heavenly water Holy Maiden, and Jun Hao joined forces and attacked her together. She actually managed to hold on for such a long time. Not simple at all. Yin Kei couldn't help but nod. She had the Holy Maiden's battle armor, and this battle would definitely cause a commotion. Of course, the three of them had joined forces to suppress the Holy Maiden. If it was a true life and death battle, she might not be able to hold on. Of course, no one knew that the Holy Maiden was at her limit. What else could the Holy Maiden do when she was forced to her limits? Big brother, this guy who forgets his friends for love, I wonder where he went. Fan Jian was burning with anxiety, and his face was filled with an evil smile. The Holy Maiden was the noblest and most outstanding woman in the immortal heavenly region. She was the Holy Maiden of a prosperous immortal orthodoxy. Who could remain calm? Su Yin obtained the immortal fetus stone that gave birth to the source Qi. I'm really worried that he's in seclusion. I guess he still doesn't know about the golden treasure ground. Yuan and the others smiled bitterly. Originally, they had returned to look for Su Yin mainly because something had happened to the golden treasure ground. Yuan was sure that the Tai Baokai was most likely under the treasure ground. They had also gone there, but they couldn't find any trace of the Tai Baokai. Even the number 1 supreme of the Xian people had killed his way in. Could it be that the Tai Baokai had encountered some great changes? In short, they now needed Su Yin to act and break the layout of the golden treasure ground. Now, Su Yin had vanished from the face of the earth, and they couldn't find any traces of him. If he really hid, who had the ability to dig him out? Let's go. We can't waste time here. Once something happens, it will be difficult to reach the destination immediately. Yuan decided to set off again. If Su Yin heard news about the Baokai on the way, he would quickly reach the battlefield. The outside world was in chaos. Many people were looking for the young Devil King. Su Yin seemed to be fine. He left the 5 Elements treasure ground, found a safe place, and opened up an underground cave. Bam! The immortal fetus stone fell to the ground. Su Yin heaved a sigh of relief. This thing was so heavy that he almost couldn't breathe under its weight. So this is the immortal fetus stone. Su Yan's scorching gaze scanned the stone. Strands of source Qi essence flowed through his 5 orifices, like a concentrated true dragon swimming within. It was a spectacular sight. Su Yin reached out a large hand, wanting to grab the source Qi. Not only was this thing heavy, it also contained an astonishing order of the immortal Tao. It resisted Su Yan's large hand, and the entire immortal Tao stone glowed. Su Yin frowned. This stone was truly extraordinary. He had a cosmic origin stone, but it was different from the immortal fetus stone. Clearly, the cosmic origin stone had not formed a unique gas of source Qi. Hey. A pair of slightly resentful eyes looked at the man who was frantically studying the immortal fetus stone. The Grand Saintess curled her lips and said, "Can't you be more protective of the fair sex?" A peerless saintess of a generation was mercilessly sealed by Su Yin and casually thrown into the cave without any care. This made the Grand Saintess indignant. She was a peerless beauty, a national beauty. Although she was in a bit of a sorry state from the successive battles, it was still difficult to conceal her breathtaking beauty. Her scattered black hair, delicate body, and delicate white skin formed a bewitching scenery. Hearing this, Su Yin looked at the Grand Saintess and smiled. "Saintess, how can I take care of you?" The Grand Saintess was shocked by Su Yan's bold words. She frowned slightly and said, "Should I call you Xia Kunlun, the young Devil King, or Su Yin?" "Up to you," Su Yin said indifferently. "We're old acquaintances. We can be considered friends." The Grand Saintess' eyes rippled. Her voice was pleasant and magnetic. It was very pleasant to listen to and was enough to tug at one's heartstrings. She said gently, "I I really didn't expect that the person I met in the Void universe would be the famous young Devil King. She couldn't help but sigh. She still had a deep impression of the man who had refused to be recruited. But who would have thought that that person was the current young Devil King? However, what he said at that time was too true. The trouble on his body was too big. It was not just big. Even if he really followed him back then, even if he had gone to the Sovereign Sect, he would most likely be chased out of the sect. Although Su Yan's talent was extraordinary, the trouble on him was too great. He might have been killed that day. You really surprised me. The Grand Saintess smiled. The Saintess smiled. She lay on the ground and looked at Su Yan with her watery eyes. Saintess, can you not look at me like that? I'm a man. You have to be responsible for your actions. Su Yan teased. The Grand Saintess couldn't help but laugh. You're from a celestial court. I don't believe you're a despicable person. I've lost all my strength and am completely a weak woman. It's not very kind of you to seal me like this. Su Yan was really afraid of her. She wasn't an ordinary person to be able to resist for so long under that situation. Even if she was in a weak state, she was still a ferocious beast. Su Yan wouldn't let her go so easily. He was even extremely interested in the Grand Saintess technique. Of course, this wasn't what Su Yan cared about the most. It was what treasure the Grand Saintess had that could actually cause the 9-continent heavenly cauldrons to tremble. This made Su Yan especially curious. Don't worry, Saintess. So long as we work together sincerely, I'll let you go very quickly. Su Yan walked over and stood by her side, and he looked at her peerlessly beautiful face that was capable of charming all living beings. He said, Saintess, your bearing is peerless. No wonder that kid, Heavenspan, would target you. Are you praising me? The Grand Saintess revealed a confident smile that was shockingly beautiful. She said, We have a common enemy now. If we join forces in the future, it might not be impossible for us to kill that kid. I heard your soul core is injured. Do you need the Sovereign Sect's help? Su Yan frowned slightly and was slightly vigilant. Is she trying to curry favor with me? She ought to be clearly aware that Su Yan wouldn't kill her. After all, what sort of power was the Sovereign Sect? Su Yan was in so much trouble, so it was impossible for him to offend the Sovereign Sect for no reason. I can deal with my own matters, Su Yan said with a smile. Of course we can work together. But how should I extract the source chi within the immortal fetus stone? I believe Saintess won't disappoint me, right? The source chi can't be forcefully extracted. Otherwise, it'll damage the foundation of the immortal fetus stone. The Grand Saintess smiled lightly and said, Concentrate on comprehending the source chi. If you obtain its acknowledgement, then it'll be very easy for you to extract the source chi and fuse it into your true immortal body. Su Yan was surprised. There's such a thing? He turned around to look at the immortal fetus stone. Su Yan suddenly became vigilant and felt that something was off. When he turned around, he saw the Grand Saintess stand up with ease, and the grand battle armor she wore glowed as she tore apart the seal he'd set up. Bang! Su Yan instantly raised his palm and pressed it down towards the Grand Saintess. However, in the next moment, Su Yan felt the world spin as if he'd fallen into a hopeless situation. His soul core felt piercing pain, and the injuries that he'd just recovered from seemed to be about to collapse. Su Yan's expression changed, and he withdrew the black soul core battle armor to protect his soul core. Soon, he understood everything. This was an ancient Tao diagram, and it had a terrifying sealing power that suppressed Su Yan's physical body. This thing was much heavier than the immortal fetus stone, and it had sealed Su Yan's physical body. This is the dragon locking diagram, a rare treasure of my sect. It was refined from the fur of a zenith heaven golden immortal. Your soul core is indeed injured, and your spiritual awareness is greatly reduced. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to suppress you so easily. The Grand Saintess was still as elegant as ever. Her face was full of smiles, and she exuded a soul-stirring beauty. She was pure and holy, and her white robes fluttered in the wind. She stared straight at Su Yan and said, Young Demon King, you are now mine. Chapter 1578. Su Yan's face almost collapsed. He had failed miserably at such an easy task. He really didn't expect that the supreme battle armor could destroy the seal he set up in such a short time. This treasure was really extraordinary, and it was also the symbol of the sovereign sect masters. Although she couldn't exert much of the saintess combat strength with her cultivation level, just a little bit of her saint energy was still quite extraordinary. Su Yin stared at the beautiful and holy fairy in front of him and said, "Saintess, you're too direct. I've seen people snatch women, but there are only a few people who snatch men." The supreme saintess frowned slightly. She had a peerless appearance and a noble temperament. Her body emitted a pure white luster, and her delicate body was like a pearl emitting clouds, brilliant and dazzling. She smiled lightly and said, "It's also a very glorious thing for a dignified young demon king to become my battle servant. You're very bold. You even dare to take me in." Su Yin smiled faintly and didn't panic too much. He circulated the initiation scripture in his body, and his body flowed with immortal energy. His inner universe circulated, and it emitted a grand fluctuation that was like an abyss. It wanted to shake off the dragon lock diagram. However, the gold endowed diagram that pressed down on Su Yan's body flowed with a shocking fluctuation and suppressed the order of scriptures that surged out of Su Yan's body. Moreover, the dragon lock diagram's power was all-pervasive, and it drilled into his body like lightning. In an instant, Su Yan's body trembled violently. The dragon lock diagram's power was quite barbaric, and it wanted to tear apart Su Yan's body. It was even to the extent that the universe in his body was locked, and it was difficult for it to continue rotating. This made Su Yan's heart tremble. This treasure was very powerful and peerless. The Supreme Saintess didn't even use it when she was fighting with the Skirich young master and the others. Now, she actually used it to suppress him. "Stop struggling. It's useless." The Grand Saintess seemed particularly proud. With her hands behind her back and her clothes fluttering in the wind, she was indescribably beautiful. She smiled and said, "This is the Dragon Lock Scroll. It can even lock a true dragon. The entire scroll is made from the old skin of a Daluo golden immortal. It's a shocking treasure. The more you struggle, the stronger the Dragon Lock Scroll will be on you." She was extremely confident because the ancient golden bee skin was one of the rare precious treasures of the sovereign sect, and it was sufficient to suppress the young Devil King. Due to the unique order of the Emperor Road, it was difficult for some treasures to unleash their full power. However, at this stage, the dragon sealing portrait could easily suppress a third-level true immortal. "Saintess, you're really something. You're still hiding something." Su Yin cast a sidelong glance at the Grand Saintess and said, "If you use the dragon locking diagram, Tongtian young master will most likely suffer a great loss. But now you're dealing with your own people. That's not very kind." The Grand Saintess laughed happily, revealing a different kind of charm. She was like a sly little fox. She said, "You were very unkind before by sealing me. The reason why I didn't use the dragon locking diagram during the battle was mainly because I was wary of Tongtian young master. As the personal disciple of Tongtian old man, he has countless precious treasures on him. I believe he has a secret treasure similar to the dragon locking diagram to resist me. I say, Saintess, no matter what, I've helped you before. You're really unkind now. Moreover, what good will it do you to suppress me?" Su Yin asked. The more he came into contact with the dragon locking diagram, the more he felt that this thing was unusual. It was like a hibernating ancient dragon. It was quite terrifying. Of course, there are benefits. The immortal fetus stone is already a great benefit. The Grand Saintess's beautiful eyes shone brightly. Her gaze scanned the precious treasure that Su Yin had painstakingly carried out. She smiled and said, "I didn't expect that I would become a winner in life from this trip to the 5 Elements treasure trove. Not bad, not bad." Her smile was brilliant. With light steps, she appeared in front of the immortal fetus stone. "I say, Saintess, how about we split the immortal fetus stone 50-50? Su Yin called out, "I want the 5 Elements source chi. I'll give you the immortal fetus stone. What do you think? Let's be friends." The Grand Saintess was stunned. Then, she rolled her eyes and snorted. You're not polite. However, you don't have the right to negotiate with me now. In the future, you'd better stay by my side obediently and charge into enemy lines. If you perform well, I might let you go. She reached out and held the immortal fetus stone in her palm. Boom! The immortal fetus stone shone. The essence of the source, Qi, evaporated and emitted boundless waves of the great Tao. The pressure caused her arm to tremble. Her entire palm was about to collapse. She was a little dazed and shocked. She looked at Su Yin in astonishment. How strong was his physical body? Su Yin had carried the immortal fetus stone all the way and traveled hundreds of thousands of li. Of course, if the Grand Saintess was in her peak condition, she wouldn't be in such a sorry state. Her losses were too great. Young Devil King, wait for me to recover. Then, we can have a good talk about what to do next. The Grand Saintess smiled lightly as she sat upright on the ground. Under Su Yan's fiery gaze, she was actually absorbing the essence of the energy contained within the immortal fetus stone. This was a priceless item, yet she was actually willing to absorb and refine it. What a pity! She was also secretly sighing and feeling pity. After all, the immortal fetus stone nurtured the source Qi of the 5 elements. If an expert skilled in the great Tao of the 5 elements obtained this item, it would be a great opportunity that could change their life. The source Qi of the world was extremely rare. It was too rare and precious. The Grand Saintess was extremely clear that with the value of the immortal fetus stone, it was likely that the sovereign sect would take it away. She wasn't willing to give it up. The energy within the immortal fetus stone was extremely important to her, so she directly chose to absorb and refine it. Wave after wave of extremely pure energy of the 5 elements sprinkled down layer by layer. The Grand Saintess' body emanated divine radiance and auspicious light. She felt too comfortable, as if her beautiful body was being cleansed. She couldn't help but exclaim in admiration at the value of the immortal fetus stone. If she absorbed and refined the energy within the entire stone, her cultivation would climb to an astonishing level. How ruthless! Su Yin gritted his teeth. If it was Su Yin, he wouldn't be willing to refine such a precious treasure of the heavens and the earth unless he had no other choice. But the Grand Saintess was very direct. After all, she had the sovereign sect behind her, and the stronger she was, the more resources she would obtain. She didn't care about the immortal fetus stone at all. Suddenly, the Grand Saintess opened her eyes and looked at Su Yan. When she noticed Su Yan's bitter expression, she pursed her lips and smiled lightly. Who would be willing to accept such a great fortune being taken away by her? She became more and more complacent. The young Devil King who commanded the world had suffered a great loss at her hands, and this lesson was sufficient for him to remember for a lifetime. Then she withdrew her gaze and cultivated seriously. The immortal fetus stone was very extraordinary. It flowed with the vast aura of the great Tao, and it caused the Grand Saintess to gradually sink into the profundities of the great Tao. It was very difficult for her to return to her senses in a short period of time. A chance! Su Yan's eyes opened wide. His chance had come. Even though the Dragonlock diagram was extraordinary, the main reason was that Su Yan had a chance to break free from the Dragonlock diagram suppression if he interfered with the Grand Saintess soul core. I can definitely affect her soul core with a slash of my sword. Su Yan was just about to activate his ultimate move when he instantly hesitated. The injuries of his soul core had just been stabilized. Once he activated this ultimate move, he might heavily injure his soul core once more. This would have a greater impact on him. Moreover, the Grand Saintess was so strong that it would probably be difficult for him to go against her while his soul core was heavily injured. Su Yan had a slight headache. What should I do? His physical body had already been confined, and he had completely lost his ability to use it. If he wanted to interfere with her mind, he had to shake her soul core. My divine fetus stone, this bitch is really ruthless. Just wait until I come out of seclusion and see how I'll deal with you. Su Yan was burning with anxiety. When he saw the slightly dim stone material, he shuddered and scolded himself. Stupid, stupid. I'm really too stupid. How could I forget about this move? He calmed himself down and concealed his spirit and chi. His soul core, which was sitting cross-legged in his sea of consciousness, emitted waves of clear light. Mysterious gas was also coming out of his mouth and nose. What was this? This was the body-nurturing art awakening. Su Yin was using his soul-nurturing art to seize the fortune of heaven and earth. Similarly, a terrifying devouring power surged toward the divine fetus stone. In an instant, the heavy divine fetus stone shook violently and was about to fly toward Su Yin. Somehow, the Grand Saintess had returned from her enlightenment state. However, when she completely returned and her eyes regained their clarity, her beautiful face collapsed. Black lines appeared on her forehead. Stop! She was about to shout, but it was already too late. Boom! The divine fetus stone suppressed her violently. It was as if a super heavy weapon had come back to life. It fell from the sky and landed solidly on the Grand Saintess' snow-white forehead like a brick. Ah! The Saintess screamed. She was in so much pain that her body trembled. Tears flowed from her eyes. Her vision even turned black, and she almost fainted. This divine fetus stone was extremely heavy. If not for her strong physical body, she would have been smashed to death in a single blow. With the divine fetus stone directly suppressing her, her soul core was unstable and on the verge of collapse. The Saintess' forehead was covered in blood. She screamed in pain. Her vision was still turning black. Her heart was filled with resentment. How could Su Yin control the divine fetus stone? How'd he do it? Break! Suddenly, the underground cave shook violently. Su Yin's chi was swallowing a bowl. Taking advantage of the moment when the dragon lock diagram was unstable, the universe in his body revolved and shook the dragon lock diagram away. Oh no! The Grand Saintess screamed. She barely regained some clarity of mind. She controlled the dragon lock diagram that had been shaken away and flew towards Su Yin. The golden beast hide diagram shone brightly. For a moment, it had an aura that could suppress the heavens and the earth. It wanted to suppress Su Yin's physical body once more. Boom! Su Yin swung his sleeve. He brought out the great solar realm and smashed it toward the dragon lock diagram. The two treasures were extraordinary. They were both rare treasures. The instant they collided, the heavens shook and the earth shook. The underground cave exploded. Saintess, your man is here, Su Yin shouted. He descended from the sky with the weight of Mount Tai. The asterisk starred. The Grand Saintess was so angry that she trembled. Just as she was about to get up and leave, Su Yin was extremely ferocious. His body was blazing, and his chi and blood were golden. His palms shone as he grabbed the Grand Saintess' wrist and pushed her to the ground. Her fair and crystalline body was pressed to the ground by Su Yin. Su Yin was masculine and powerful. Chest to chest, head to head, and eyes to eyes. Pervert, get lost. The Saintess lost control and shouted. She was a holy fairy. When had she ever come into close contact with a man? Moreover, they were touching in such a manner. This made her angry. Her limpid eyes spewed fire. She wanted to swallow Su Yin alive. What pervert? Su Yin glared and shouted. Didn't you say that I'm yours? How can you slander me like this? You're too unkind. Unkind. The Grand Saintess was so angry that she trembled. Then, goosebumps appeared all over her body. She screamed, Are you crazy? No, stop, stop. At this moment, I should count the monthly votes and knock the Saintess unconscious. Add more chapters. Chapter 1579. The hair on the Holy Fairy's snow-white skin stood on end as she screamed incessantly. She was terrified and extremely flustered, and she was unable to maintain her composure. Blood was still flowing from her snow-white forehead, but Su Yan's large hand moved along her snow-white feet, past her calves, and then extended towards her thighs. The holy maiden was both embarrassed and furious. She'd never imagined that the young Devil King would be so bold to directly attack her. Needless to say, The holy fairy's long legs were snow-white and tender like a pool of spring water, and they captivated one's heart. Su Yin wasn't in the mood to admire and explore its profundities because he'd already touched the sovereign battle armor. This combat armor had perfectly fused into one with her delicate figure, and it was like her skin. So, it wasn't easy to lay down on her stomach. Moreover, the sovereign combat armor was a precious treasure of the sovereign sect that was passed down through the ages. Only the sovereign sect's sect master had the qualifications to wear this supreme battle armor. Since she'd obtained the sovereign battle armor in advance, it was obvious how much the sovereign sect valued and trusted her. The pure white battle armor had merged with her skin, and her beautiful legs were completely bare. The holy maiden that Su Yin had forcefully pushed down struggled madly. In the end, her delicate body glowed and surged with waves of pure and holy radiance. The holy maiden had recovered quite a bit from the nourishment of the immortal fetus stone earlier. Now, once her aura went berserk, she was like a beautiful snake, and she shook Su Yan's body to the point it trembled violently. Su Yan was shocked in his heart. This woman is really strong. His body had recovered. Su Yan's physique was extremely strong. His vital energy and blood were golden, and his body was extremely tough. In the past, he'd also been nourished by the primeval source Qi, causing Su Yan's body to be rather abnormal and shocking. Bang! There was nothing to say. Su Yan forcefully suppressed the holy maiden once more and pressed her down beneath him. Don't struggle. Submit obediently. Su Yan shouted savagely. His flesh cracked and emitted terrifying heavenly energy, and it surged with shocking divine radiance as it fiercely suppressed the holy maiden's struggling body. F***CK. In the next moment, Su Yan's complexion changed. The saintess had awakened a world-shaking, supernatural power. Her snow-white and tender legs glowed, and a deep and ear-piercing dragon roar erupted. She had broken free from Su Yan's energy shackles. Dragon Snake's secret technique. A world-shocking, great divine ability erupted. A snow-white and tender, beautiful leg turned into a golden long leg. It was covered densely in profound, immortal Tao symbols, outlining an indistinct, giant, vicious creature. It was also golden in color, the energy fluctuations extremely astonishing. A purebred dragon snake could definitely be called a supreme life form. It was extremely rare, and there might not even be one born in an entire era of the universe. Such a life form's combat power was extraordinary. The Grand Saintess unleashed the dragon snake's secret technique. A creature that was neither a dragon nor a snake attacked fiercely, aiming for Su Yan's crotch. Su Yan's face almost collapsed. Was she trying to end his lineage? The Grand Saintess felt that Su Yan was violating her, but she did not know that he was after the grand battle armor. Of course, she also did not think that Su Yan would be so daring as to be crazy enough to fight for the grand battle armor. This is a crotch kick. Take this. Su Yan's large hand glowed and cut through the void at an extremely fast speed, enveloping the golden dragon snake. Roar! The dragon snake hissed, its explosive power shocking the world, causing Su Yan's hand to tremble slightly. Hum! Su Yan's palm burned brightly, releasing an immeasurable amount of power Upanishad. His palm looked small, but it was infinitely big. It covered the entire sky and earth, forcefully covering the dragon snake's secret technique, trapping it in an immeasurable amount of time and space. Finally, Su Yan's palm grabbed the Grand Saintess's beautiful leg again. Pervert, her eyes were spitting fire, and her snow-white skin flowed with a holy luster. Deep within her body, the sound of chanting could be heard. For a moment, she was especially shocking, like a peerless divine fetus of the great Tao blooming. What kind of constitution is this? Su Yan was shocked. It was like a mysterious connate constitution, peerlessly powerful. The next moment, the Grand Saintess's temperament changed. She was like a supreme god looking down on all living beings, holy and inviolable. The chanting in her body became more and more intense, and finally, a terrifying Grand Saintess aura surged. Even someone as powerful as Su Yin could not suppress her. As expected of the saintess of a supreme sect, at this moment, she was like a supreme goddess awakening. However, she was also deliberately suppressing her constitution. Su Yin was shocked. What kind of constitution did she have? Why did she deliberately hide it? Originally, the Grand Saintess thought that she could defeat Su Yin in a single move and seize the initiative. Who knew that in the next moment, Su Yan's body would release a grand fluctuation. The world in his body was rather special and mysterious. It was like a boundless universe with chaos flowing like an ocean. Within it, there were the sun, moon, stars, flowers, birds, fish, and insects, beginning scripture. The Grand Saintess's expression was solemn. She was peerlessly holy and peerlessly beautiful. She recognized this scripture. She did not expect the young Devil King to have cultivated this scripture to such a level. The order of the scripture had already appeared, and he had a chance to reach the grand immortal realm in the future. At the same time, she also wanted to see how terrifying the strongest scripture of the celestial court was. She circulated the grand scripture. This scripture was also shocking, and only a few disciples of the sovereign sect were qualified to cultivate it. Once it was released, her snow-white body surged with the radiance of flying immortals, and it contained a terrifying killing power. Rumble. The two of them pressed together, and in the extremely limited space, the strongest scripture started a confrontation. One had to know that this person was much stronger than Xian Kuei, and she was rather stunning and peerless. When the two great heavenly arts collided, the underground cave shook, and many large cracks appeared. In the middle, the atmosphere reversed, and the radiance of flying immortals attacked, and it almost destroyed the chaotic universe. However, in Su Yan's chaotic universe, the sun, moon, and stars were arranged, and flowers, birds, fish, and insects were born. It was like a golden age, and it forcefully annihilated the radiance of flying immortals that filled the sky. Moreover, a grand aura was about to strike down and disperse the energy of the grand scripture. Bang! At this moment, the radiance of flying immortals that filled the sky suddenly became dazzling and monstrous. This was the eruption of the Grand Saintess technique, and her combat strength rose by a large margin. It contained the power to slaughter gods and destroy immortals. Su Yan's expression was solemn. This was known as the strongest killing secret technique in history. The Grand Saintess technique, especially when combined with the beginning scripture, was peerless and shocking. The chaotic universe collapsed, and the terrifying aura shook Su Yan's body until it shook violently. Power of beginning. Su Yan roared. He released the beginning scripture's supreme secret technique. The collapsed chaotic universe was reconstructed, flowing with the energy of the beginning of all things. It was enough to cover the source of the great Tao and obliterate the Grand Saintess technique. Bang! Loud explosions rang out. The chaotic universe collapsed, and the power of flying immortals scattered. It was as if they were evenly matched. Su Yin and the Grand Saintess technique trembled at the same time, and both were sent flying backwards. Pervert! Hand over your life. The Grand Saintess rushed over. Her black hair danced in the wind, and her snow-white body erupted with a divine radiance. She had used her trump card and activated the Grand Saintess battle armor. Pervert, 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 you keep on shouting. I'll let you have a taste of what a pervert is. Su Yin shouted. He directly activated the humanoid puppet. His entire being was like a peerless, immortal demon that soared through the skies. His courage was peerless as he rushed towards the Grand Saintess. He didn't dare to be careless. The Grand Saintess technique was world-shaking. The Grand Saintess was like a flying immortal. The moment she attacked, the heavens and earth exploded. Terrifying waves of energy swept across. She wanted to severely injure Su Yin in one move. She believed that very few people in the world could withstand this kind of killing. Bang! Su Yan's black hair danced in the wind. He also used a shocking grand spell. It wasn't the heaven-destroying sword way, nor was it the primordial force, nor was it the one chi turning trinity. Instead, it was the secret technique of the path of robbery. In his internal universe, it evolved the secret technique of the Xianwang universe. Su Yin, who was in the true immortal realm, evolved the secret technique of the path of robbery. It was as if a blood-red purgatory was born and replaced the immortal Tao. What kind of secret technique is this? The Grand Saintess's eyes flashed with a trace of shock. In the blood-red world, the aura of calamity flowed. The aura of calamity spread out as if a boundless calamity had appeared, blotting out the sky and the sun. She felt suffocated. In the world of the path of robbery, the operation of all Tao techniques was a little slow. Open. At this moment, she regained her composure. The Grand Saintess technique was activated again. It was as if the entire sky had exploded. Its offensive power was unparalleled and could break all Tao in the world. Bang! She rushed over like an ancient saint. Her holy body bloomed with the light of ascension. A huge crack appeared in the blood-red world. She went straight for Su Yan's body. What a powerful secret technique. The secret technique of the path of robbery has been broken. However, this secret technique isn't suitable for one-on-one combat. Su Yan's eyes widened. This was the Grand Saintess technique, the secret technique that was said to have invincible offensive power. I want to test it with my own body and see how powerful this secret technique is. Su Yan shouted coldly. His fist print was as big as the sky and pressed forward. The Grand Saintess's face was cold, using flesh and blood to resist her supreme saint technique. When the two forces collided, the chaotic universe above Su Yan's fist was spinning. It pierced through heaven and earth. It was as if the universe fist print was blooming and resisting the Grand Saintess technique. But at the same time, Su Yan's fist was trembling. He almost couldn't block it with his primordial universe fist. This showed how powerful this saint technique was. What? The Grand Saintess's expression changed. The Grand Saintess technique was an invincible secret technique. How did Su Yan block it? During the battle on the Emperor Road, Su Yan perfected the secret technique he created. Together with the primordial force, he could strengthen the power of his remarkable powers. His fist force was too powerful. Back then, he had beaten the Xian people's sect leader. Now, the Grand Saintess was even more powerful. Boom! All of a sudden, an astonishing amount of soul power attacked him. Su Yan's expression didn't change. His primordial spirit was protected by the black primordial spirit battle armor. He could completely ignore the Saintess primordial spirit interference. Su Yan rushed over. His cold eyes flashed with lightning as he opened and closed them. His essence, chi, and spirit were even more shocking. He and the Grand Saintess clashed again. Their battle lasted for a long time. The ancient cave residents collapsed and set off a huge wave in this area. Who's fighting? Some people were shocked. The energy fluctuations were too intense and attracted many people's attention. They couldn't tell who was fighting at all. It was as if they were watching an ancient saint and a golden war god fighting to the death. In a short time, the two of them fought for more than 100 rounds. They fought from the sky to the ground, from the clouds to the stars. Mountains collapsed. Lakes and mountains exploded. The destructive power was so great that no one dared to watch the battle at close range. Beat asterisk starred. The Grand Saintess was going crazy. Since the start of the battle, she had been suppressed. Although she hadn't suffered any substantial damage, Su Yan's strength had refreshed her understanding of him. She felt that even if she was at her peak, it would be difficult for her to suppress the young Devil King. Most importantly, she felt ashamed. They were fighting in close quarters. It was inevitable that there would be some intimate contact. Suppress. Su Yan was wild as hell. The Grand Saintess was exhausted. Her body was dim, and her energy was depleted. Su Yan grabbed the Grand Saintess' wrist again and pressed her down from the sky to the ground. Stop! I admit defeat. I surrender. The Grand Saintess wanted nothing more than to strangle Su Yan to death. The more she fought, the less clothes she had. The Grand Saintess battle armor was almost completely stripped off by Su Yin. Her snow-white skin was exposed. It was as white as ivory and emitted a holy radiance, full of fatal temptation. Brothers, a jade photo of the Grand Saintess has been posted on the public account. Follow the public account, Azure Skyleaf. Follow and check it out. Chapter 1580. It was a different kind of battle. The Grand Saintess was scared and surrendered. She thought that Su Yin was going to invade her, but who knew that he was after the grand battle armor? Her sleeves were torn off, and the battle armor covering her legs was also torn off and scattered on the ground. Similarly, the battle armor came off one after another, emitting a delicate fragrance. After all, this was the battle armor she wore. Each battle armor was overflowing with light and color, emitting an ancient and terrifying aura. It was extremely heavy, crushing the void. Its power was quite frightening. Su Yan's eyes were red. This was the grand battle armor. His humanoid puppet also strengthened the physical strength, but the grand battle armor was different. Once he had it, wouldn't he be able to walk unhindered on the path of immortality? Who would be able to touch him? Most importantly, the Grand Saintess couldn't merge with the grand battle armor. Otherwise, Su Yin wouldn't be able to gain any advantage in this battle. He couldn't do anything to the Grand Saintess. When he leaned over and looked at the Grand Saintess who had surrendered, blood almost spurted out of his nostrils. The temptation was too great. The visual shock and impact made Su Yan's heart beat wildly. Go to hell, pervert! The Saintess was furious. Her jade-like hands rose, emitting a terrifying aura in an instant. The void collapsed, and Su Yin almost suffered internal injuries from the shock. There's more! Su Yin turned pale with fright. Her snow-white hands were covered with gloves as thin as cicada's wings. The aura she emitted was so powerful that it made Su Yan's heart tremble. Before the attack came, Su Yan's chest had already collapsed. A mouthful of blood spurted out from his throat, splattering the Saintess' face. The Grand Saintess was about to go crazy. How could she, an outstanding beauty, withstand such filth? Her cheeks glowed, scattering the bloodstains. At the same time, the silver gloves on her snow-white hands emitted waves like the sea. In an instant, they collided with Su Yan's chest. In an instant, Su Yan's flesh shell was about to explode. This silver glove was too abnormal. It contained an extremely barbaric and terrifying power. It was as if two celestial bodies of the universe were smashing down. They were about to shatter Su Yan's internal organs. What level of gloves were these? Wasn't their aura a little too frightening? Swimming Dragon's silver sky sword. Su Yan roared in a low voice. A snow-white sword embryo soared through the air, erupting with a blazing light. A silver dragon drilled out from the sword, instantly locking down the Grand Holy Maiden's palm. I'm going to hack him to death. The Saintess's jade-like palms glowed, and the silver glove boiled with terrifying power, pushing up layer by layer. However, the more she struggled, the stronger the roaming dragon's silver sky sword's aura became. The silver dragon formed by the sword embryo wanted to crush her palms into meat paste. In the process, the roaming dragon silver sky sword wanted to cut the silver glove, but this item was indestructible. It let out a series of ear-piercing vibrations, and huge sparks flew out. Let go! Su Yin endured the pain and cried out. You don't want your hands anymore, right? Even if my hands are crippled, I can still reconstruct them. However, if my palms press down on your body, I want to see if your body will collapse. The Grand Holy Maiden's eyes flashed with a ferocious luster. Su Yin thought in his heart that this woman had really gone mad. She wanted to injure both of them. Are you sure you want to do this? If you're heavily injured, what other trump cards do you have to deal with me? Su Yin threatened. Be obedient and hand over the grand battle armor to me. Take it as compensation for the mental damage you caused by suppressing me with the dragon lockdown diagram. No, there's still the dragon lockdown diagram. Hand it over to me as well. Su Yin corrected once more. You're crazy. The Grand Holy Maiden was furious to the point of trembling, and her perfect and delicate figure emanated a clear radiance as she said furiously, The grand battle armor is a precious treasure of my sovereign sect. You even dare to lay your hands on this treasure? Do you want to go against my sovereign sect? I'll borrow it for a period of time. I'll return it to you after I kill Tong Tian. Su Yin explained. Don't worry, I don't dare lay my hands on the treasures of the sovereign sect. In your dreams, the Grand Holy Maiden was furious. If she really gave the grand battle armor to him, then it would be like throwing a meat bun to a dog, and it would never return. You don't have a choice. How long can you persist for? Su Yin laughed with ridicule. If this continues, you'll definitely suffer great losses, and it'll take a very long time to recover. Not to mention that our battle has absolutely drawn the attention of many people. Aren't you afraid that they'll notice our actions? The Grand Holy Maiden was furious to the point she was on the verge of spitting out a mouthful of blood. This undisguised threat caused her to truly be slightly flurried. If a pure fairy of the sovereign sect was really seen to be stripped of her clothes and pressed down on the ground by a man, then if news of this were spread, then the dignity of the sovereign sect would be greatly damaged, and she would probably be unable to keep her position as Holy Maiden. But if she handed over the grand battle armor and the senior figures of the sect found out about it, then the consequences would be rather severe as well. Have you thought it through? Asked Su Yin. Ha! The Grand Holy Maiden suddenly spoke with disdain. Even if I give her the grand battle armor, I don't have the qualifications to control her. This treasure has always been the precious treasure of my sect's sect master, and the exalts of every generation have left their mark on it. Su Yin frowned slightly because he really hadn't thought of this. But she was right. Look quickly. The experts of the sovereign sect have arrived. There were already many spectators in the distant world. Even though this was the outer area of the treasure vault, and the number of experts here was limited. Now, when they saw a large group of experts from the sovereign sect arrive, the surroundings were deathly silent. A group of experts from the sovereign sect had arrived, and they'd sensed the aura of the Holy Maiden and pursued her all the way here. This group of people were extremely anxious and had a huge headache because they had a bad premonition. The young Devil King wasn't an ordinary person, and he was a primeval, ferocious beast in their eyes, an extraordinarily wanted criminal. Once the pure and peerlessly beautiful Holy Maiden fell into his hands, then the consequences would be unimaginable. Holy Maiden, Holy Maiden. Wave after wave of extremely penetrating voices exploded out in the vast territory as they tried to locate the Holy Maiden's location. The Grand Holy Maiden revealed a delighted expression, and then her heart trembled violently, because once the experts of the sect saw her like this. Originally, some of the geniuses of the sovereign sect were extremely displeased with this position of Holy Maiden, and if news of this were to spread to the sovereign sect, then it would be extremely terrible for her. Once news of this spread, then this matter would be completely huge, and her reputation as a pure and holy celestial maiden would cease to exist. Holy Maiden, have you thought it through? There isn't much time left, right? Oh, a few tens of cultivators from the sovereign sect have arrived. Are they on the same side as you? Su Yan's threatening voice sounded out once more, and this caused her to be extremely furious. She said furiously, "It won't be a good outcome for you if you infuriate the sovereign sect. I won't show mercy to those who intend to suppress me as well." Su Yan replied and said, "I must teach them a lesson. The sovereign battle armor is impossible." The Holy Maiden forcefully suppressed the flames of her rage and said, "It's impossible as well for the dragon lock diagram. It's a precious treasure my master gave me, and my master would definitely notice it if I obtained it. Could it be that I want to be pursued by the sovereign sect's exalt?" In short, the Holy Maiden didn't want this scandal to be exposed. She had her own pride and bearing, and even the people closest to her weren't allowed to know about it. Otherwise, it would be one of the greatest stains on her path to invincibility. The sovereign technique. Su Yin raised a condition, and the Holy Maiden went completely silent. She was terrified by Su Yan's courage. Hee. Su Yin knew that it was impossible as well. This was the strongest divine ability in history, and he'd already experienced it. If it wasn't for the Holy Maiden being injured, it wouldn't be easy to suppress it. Su Yin continued and said, "How about this? Give me the silver glove." The holy maiden almost cried. The silver glove was woven from the leather of heavenly beasts, and its value was unimaginable. It was one of her trump cards. This series of treasures was rather precious and rare, and its value was on par with the dragon-lock diagram. Even if it was an immortal sect, it was still limited. "They're here, they're here," Su Yan urged. The holy maiden gritted her teeth and stubbornly gave in the end. Her eyes were slightly red as she glared at Su Yan and said, "Just you wait. I won't spare you in the future. Just you wait. I think that our war should be finished before we work together to kill that brat Tong Tian." Su Yan smiled and let go of the holy maiden. He said, "Originally, we could have coexisted peacefully, but you had to suppress me. Tell me, who's the winner in life now?" At this moment, the holy maiden had recovered her usual calmness. She wore a sky-blue dress and had a noble temperament. She had once again become a true fairy who looked down on the world. The holy maiden's elegance was very holy and eye-catching. No matter where she was, she would be the center of attention. Su Yan was shocked. This woman is really extraordinary. She recovered from the shock so quickly. She'll probably have great achievements in the future. "Young Demon King, just you wait. I'll get back at you in the future." The holy maiden's beauty was peerless, and her temperament was ethereal like an immortal. She stood in the rubble, dazzling. Holy maiden, holy maiden." At this moment, a group of experts from the sovereign sect came. They were very fast and approached the rubble. When they saw that the holy maiden was fine, they heaved a sigh of relief. They were so scared that they almost had a heart attack. "Holy maiden, where is the young demon king?" A silver-haired old woman walked out. Her aura was rather powerful. Vaguely, the light of 8 true immortals bloomed successively, and it was even to the extent that the light of 9 true immortals was faintly about to appear and suppress all living beings in the universe. The experts of the sovereign sect were shocked. This was the personal guard of the holy maiden. They never expected that she would have recovered her peak strength in just a little over a year. How many treasures did she devour? It was slightly hard to believe. "I chased him away," the holy maiden said bluntly. "Was that person Xia Kunlun?" The silver-haired old woman asked the most important question. She couldn't forget the young man she met on the bloody path all those years ago. He refused the holy maiden's invitation. She once said that Su Yan would cry loudly in his later years and regret his decision all those years ago. "I didn't ask." The holy maiden really didn't want to mention Su Yan, so she changed the topic and said, "Did anything major happen recently? Where did that kid Tong Tian go?" Hearing this, the silver-haired old woman said with hatred, "He left. We were useless and couldn't stop him." "Oh right, the Xian people's #1 paragon barged into the special treasure ground with golden soil." The treasure ground with golden soil, the holy maiden said in surprise. A few days ago, the family sent a message to pay close attention to his movements. Could the treasure ground be the destination for him to give up the fortune on the emperor rankings? It's very possible. Speaking of this matter, they kept talking about an extremely arrogant and mysterious being who called himself the Beast God. He wanted the Tongtian young master and the Xian people's #1 paragon to crawl over and accept their deaths. What treasure ground with golden soil? What beast god? Suddenly, the heavens shook and the earth trembled. A majestic figure stood in the air, carrying the immortal fetus stone. He descended from the sky, a fiend god overlord that illuminated the heavens and the earth. His eyes emitted a cold and murderous aura. Was it Baokai? Su Yan's chest rose and fell violently, and a terrifying killing intent bloomed. At this moment, he was completely different. His aura covered the entire land. A human emperor who ruled the world emitted a murderous aura with monstrous divine might. Chapter 1581. The person who'd arrived was rather strong. His body surged with extraordinary divine might, and it caused the group of experts of the sovereign sect to tremble in fear. They felt like they were enveloped by a universe and felt suffocated. Especially his pitch-black pupils. They were like an eternal abyss that emanated waves of coldness that intended to devour the souls of others. Some of the experts of the sovereign sect lost their composure, and they explained everything they knew in detail without concealing anything. When they finished, their backs were drenched in cold sweat, and they were truly terrified. The immortal fetus stone. Who is he? The scene here was rather strange. Su Yin carried the immortal fetus stone as he traveled, and his speed was extremely swift. They only reacted when his figure was about to vanish from their fields of vision, and their expressions changed drastically. He was the young Devil King. Su Yin staggered as blood seeped out from the corner of his mouth. His forehead had cracked, and the injury to his soul core had spread and it threatened Su Yan's body. He was very calm and didn't do anything, and he continued watching as the immortal fetus stone left. He's the young Devil King. The silver-haired old woman exclaimed as she stared at the holy maiden. What's going on? Didn't she beat the young Devil King into retreat? Why has he suddenly appeared? And he's even carrying the immortal fetus stone. What exactly happened here? The holy maiden's expression was truly a little indiscriminate. She cursed angrily in her heart. Su Yin didn't keep his word and jumped out like this in front of the experts of the sovereign sect. Wasn't he exposing her shortcomings? It was truly preposterous. The silver-haired old woman's expression changed indeterminately when she saw Su Yan's state wasn't good. Her formidable body seemed to have collapsed and blood sprayed out. He vanished and sped up his departure, and it caused the experts of the sovereign sect to not discuss much about it. Someone asked the sovereign holy maiden about exactly what had happened, and she used the fact that Su Yin had saved her life as an excuse and didn't want to continue talking about it. The young Devil King. Greed surged out from the silver-haired old woman's heart. The immortal fetus stone was given away just like that. According to the intelligence, he did help the holy maiden, but there was no need to give the immortal fetus stone to an expert of the celestial court whose soul core was heavily injured, right? Su Yan's appearance just now was obviously on the verge of death. Saintess, I can see that your aura is weak. Do you want to rest here? The Taishang Saintess's beauty was peerless, but her face was somewhat pale. She said, "The battle at the Five Elements Treasury has indeed cost me quite a bit. Let's put the matter of the Golden Treasury aside for now." She didn't mention anything related to the young Devil King. The silver-haired old woman believed that at that time, the Saintess was seriously injured and definitely wasn't the young Devil King's opponent. It was very likely that she suffered a great loss at his hands. Young Devil King, you even dared to offend the sovereign sect. A hint of ruthlessness flashed through the depths of her eyes. The immortal fetus stone had nurtured the five elements source chi, so it was extremely important. The young Devil King was already heavily injured, so if she could intercept him, she might be able to retrieve the immortal fetus stone. At this moment, Su Yin was already far away from this area. He'd returned to normal, and he seemed to be completely fine without any injuries. It was just an act from before, because if the sovereign sect really dared to make a move against him, then he wouldn't have any qualms at all. If others don't offend me, I won't offend them. This has always been Su Yan's principle. Su Yan had a lot on his mind. He didn't expect to receive news about Bao Kai by accident. What surprised him even more was that the number one paragon of the Xian people had left the Emperor Road battle platform in a hurry all those years ago because of a treasure trove. What surprised Su Yin even more was that this treasure trove seemed to be related to Bao Kai as well. This news was too important, so Su Yin had no choice but to get to the bottom of it. He was thinking about how Bao Kai had been attracted by the golden treasure trove when he first entered the Emperor Road and went to the third stage of the Emperor Road in advance. Such a strange thing had never happened before. What was so special about Bao Kai? Bao Kai might have been trapped. That golden treasure might have a great fortune. With Bao Cai's personality, I'm afraid he wouldn't be able to deal with it. That's why he spread the news. Halfway there, Su Yin stopped and took out the Milky Way gourd. After exerting a tremendous amount of effort, he finally managed to seal the immortal fetus stone inside. This was an urgent matter, and Su Yin did not dare to delay it for even a moment. Along the way, He also tried to find out the exact location of the golden treasure trove. The third stage of the Emperor Road was extremely vast and equally dangerous. There were no geographical coordinates at all, and one could only rely on others to guide the way. The golden treasure trove was now the most popular secret realm. Many experts had gathered there, and only the number one paragon of the Xian people had entered it. Su Yin could not calm himself down. The number one paragon of the Xian people had cultivated the Taiyin Mother Sutra. If he really encountered Tai Bao Kai, it would be troublesome. The holy son of the Odd Heavens sect is here. The golden treasure trove was surrounded by endless storms. The Odd Heavens sect's holy son, a peak creation grandmaster of the Odd Heavens sect, had seen the shocking extent of the terrain. He said that the number one paragon of the Xian people could enter because he had coincidentally encountered a space-time node. The experts gathered here were excited. With the Odd Heavens sect's holy son's methods, he might be able to open the golden treasure trove. This is bad. The Xian people's faces were not looking good. The number one paragon had been inside for some time, and was most likely collecting the fortunes inside. If the holy sons of the various sects and experts barged in at this juncture, it would not be a good thing. Although the number one paragon was powerful, it would be difficult for him to monopolize all the fortune materials in the treasure trove. Everyone knew that there were many rare fortunes in the third stage of the Emperor Road. Up until now, some rare treasures that were not inferior to the divine fetus stone had been unearthed, and they had all led to great battles. It was not rare for the holy sons of the immortal orthodoxies to die in battle. The most popular treasure trove was surrounded by endless storms. Su Yin was very close to his destination, and he had gathered a lot of information along the way. Almost 3 days had passed, and he had to admit that the third stage of the Emperor Road was too big. It was impossible to cross the void in a large area. Even someone as powerful as Su Yin had to avoid dangerous areas, and his speed was greatly reduced. Treasure trove, what is it? Su Yan's injured primordial spirit glowed, as if it had turned into an immortal god. The white mist within it seemed to be stirring. He was shocked and moved. Could this fortune be related to the black and white mist? Incredible. He gasped and felt excited. Could it be related to the primordial spirit? Black and white chi. The number one paragon of the Xian people had mastered the black mist. Perhaps it was this substance that attracted the attention of the number one paragon of the Xian people. Su Yan's face darkened. This was not a good thing. The number one paragon of the Xian people had been inside for some time, and it was very likely that he had taken the fortune first. Human lives are worthless. This is a place where the strong prey on the weak. The Emperor Road is really cruel. He walked along an ancient path, and there were corpses, broken bones, and flesh everywhere. This place was filled with blood and chaos. Some of the bones had long decayed. These were the experts who died in the Emperor Road when it opened 1,000,000 years ago. They were buried in a foreign land. Over the years, the Emperor's Road had opened again and again. Many peerless sky prides had walked out of the Emperor's Road, and many supreme powerhouses had been born. Similarly, countless powerhouses had died on this road. I'm coming. At this moment, Su Yin arrived. He did not stop and did not even dare to breathe. He had finally reached his destination. Golden soil. Su Yin was a little surprised. He saw the world in front of him. The soil was golden. This soil was not simple. It seemed like the sun god soil and seemed to be burning. The temperature was rising. Without a doubt, Su Yin felt that the potential of the white mist was stirring. It was as if something was attracting it. This place was abuzz. Many people were indignant. You've gone too far. What's the meaning of setting up a big killing formation here? Someone shouted. At the entrance, the killing formation was operating. It drew in the power of heaven and earth and shrouded the entrance. Many people's expressions changed. They did not dare to act rashly, nor did they dare to force their way in. This is the entrance that our clan's holy son spent a lot of effort to open. If you want to go in, you have to pay 10,000 kilograms of immortal Tao stones. Someone from the Odd Heavens sect demanded an exorbitant price. Why don't you just rob us? The Odd Heavens sect's holy son spent a lot of effort but we also contributed and took out a lot of materials. Someone stood out and said angrily, "You're getting rid of the donkey after it has left the millstone. Do you still have the honor of an immortal sect?" Enough. I've seen the odd heaven sect's face. Even the experts of the prosperous immortal sect orthodoxies can go in, but we have to pay immortal Tao stones. You've gone too far. Many people were angry, but there was nothing they could do. The killing formation was here, and it was not that easy to break through. A bunch of useless chickens and pottery dogs. You think you can go in? And you want to talk about honor with me? What a joke. The people of the Odd Heaven sect were all smiles. They looked at each other and laughed. They were really looking forward to someone who could pay 10,000 kilograms of immortal Tao stones. Who goes there? Stop right there. At this time, someone angrily rebuked a figure that was rushing over from the distance, shouting, "If you take another step forward, you'll die without an intact corpse. If you want to enter, pay 10,000 kilograms of immortal Tao stones." Get lost. Su Yin had arrived. With a shout, all sides were terrified. Hung Long, a terrifying, majestic appearance, forcibly tore apart the sky dome. The figure within charged down, a terrifying aura filling heaven and earth. It was like a tsunami had sunk the earth, covering the entire space, grand and majestic. This terrifying scene stunned everyone. It was hard to imagine that this was a third heaven true immortal expert. Su Yin hurried over. His aura was too shocking. Once it was released, it was like a sea, incomparable, powerful to the point of making people tremble. Enemy attack. The expressions of the Odd Heaven sect's people changed greatly, shouting out a warning. They all operated their power, activating the killing formation set up by their holy son, wishing to stop the cultivator who was forcefully breaking through. However, the figure that charged down, his aura becoming more and more terrifying. He released a great roar. "All of you get lost!" Hung Long. A loud sound rang out, shaking the entire starry sky. Large cracks appeared in the sky, one after another, countless. The roar was even more domineering than a true dragon, and its penetrating power was extremely strong. The vast space of the killing formation could not withstand the impact of the sound waves and collapsed, exploding with thunderous sounds. Get lost. The sound waves of the roar swept over, tearing apart the void, killing a large number of Odd Heaven sect's experts. Large numbers of cultivators exploded in the void. Crazy. All the onlookers were scared silly. This was a peerless, true, immortal, too domineering. A person came through the sky, and with a loud roar, he shattered the entire world of the killing formation. This was a terrifying demon lord. He walked like a dragon and a tiger, steaming with killing intent. He directly waved the universe fist, destroying all the cultivators in his way. A rain of blood surged in the sky, setting off Su Yan's coldness and peerlessness. He had come, completely invincible in breaking through. Nothing could stop him. Su Yan's black hair danced wildly. With a punch, heaven and earth fell silent, shattering everything. Chapter 1582. Bloody light blossomed in the sky, dyeing half the sky red. Gods and devils wept, and the sun and moon wailed. The shocking power did not dissipate for a long time, still affecting heaven and earth, causing the entire world to boil. The onlookers were dumbfounded and petrified. Who was this person who broke through so forcefully? It was too domineering. Even from the beginning to the end of the battle, the time was so short that many people could not keep up with it. Many women's mouths were wide open, forming a circle. Then their blood boiled and they trembled in fear. "Who is he?" a woman exclaimed, her eyes shining with extraordinary splendor. She looked at the intimidating figure with reverence and said, "He's too strong." "Who is he?" The killing trap set up by the mysterious heaven sect's holy son was directly shattered by his roar. How heaven-defying is this person's combat power? "Young Devil King." Someone said this sentence. It was like a storm that swept through this area, causing a huge uproar. The young Devil King broke through unrivaled, shattering the mysterious heaven sect's domain layout and annihilating the enemies. Of course, There were some who were still alive, who were trembling, their hearts filled with great fear. No one expected that the ruthless person who stole the immortal fetus stone in the third stage of the Emperor's Road would kill his way here so quickly, and even make a move in such a manner. The entire killing trap collapsed, and could not stop Su Yin at all. Rumor has it that he's not going to make it. Why is he so strong? How can the young Devil King's strength be calculated with common sense? He's the strongest descendant of the Celestial Court. Many women's eyes shone with extraordinary splendor. The scene just now was branded in their souls and was unforgettable. Their hearts were filled with endless reverence. They felt that this was a true overlord, a true king, and a true young supreme. Charge! At this moment, a large number of cultivators finally reacted and rushed toward the golden crack. The golden soil of the secret realm was one of the most popular places of fortune. Even the Xian people's #1 supreme had entered, and even famous heroes like the Skirich young master had rushed in one after another. It had to be said that this resource land gathered all the Ingjia from all over the world. There might be a bloody battle between supreme youths. Su Yin rushed into the big crack, following a blurry golden space-time path, and rushed into the inner world. When his figure rushed through the space-time path, it was as if he had crossed a long river of time and arrived in a mysterious world. In an instant, Su Yan's body dimmed, and he was weak. He was shocked. This was the influence of time and space. It was extremely shocking. Could it be that he had crossed a great distance just now? Then it was understandable that the treasure land below the third stage of the Emperor's Road. The weak Su Yin was dizzy and muddle-headed. It was as if he had fallen into chaos and was about to sleep for eternity. Su Yan's mouth was dry. It was too hot, and he was too weak. He was so weak that he was shivering, like a mortal who had not eaten for 3 days and 3 nights. Of the world, the special space-time he was in seemed to contain a relatively shocking amount of energy. He was rapidly recovering, and the process was extremely fast. He even found himself in a boundless sea of fire that wanted to burn away his body. What is this aura? Su Yin couldn't help but tremble in confusion. He could vaguely see a powerful god sleeping in the depths of the sea of fire. He was too terrifying. There was a faintly discernible aura that suppressed Su Yan's flesh shell and primordial spirit. Suddenly, he felt that the entire world and the entire universe had been suppressed. Everything was dim and lightless. What domain is this? Unbelievable. Su Yin felt a chill from head to toe. He carefully sensed the supreme pressure that came along the river of time. It bloomed from prehistoric times to this era, shaking down historical stars. It was as if the entire history had been suppressed. Is this a prehistoric powerhouse? Someone as great as the Celestial Emperor? Is that so? Similar to the Supreme Empress of the uncanny craftsmanship sect, an invincible giant in the river of time. Su Yan's soul throbbed. He couldn't bear this imposing aura. He didn't think that he would encounter all of this as soon as he stepped into this mystic realm. Without a doubt, this meant that there was a heaven-defying lucky chance hidden here. It was hard to imagine what it contained. Faintly, Su Yin heard the sound of thunder exploding in his ears. It was as if it followed the river of time and extended to this era. Heaven suppressing, Emperor suppressing, samsara suppressing. Faintly, Su Yan's body felt as if it would explode. It was as if the sound of history was engraved in the world, exploding in this era, intimidating all life. There was no substantial strength, otherwise Su Yin would have directly died. His essence, energy, and soul fell into the endless darkness, as if they were being suppressed. In the next moment, Su Yin was surprised. He left that strange space and time. The scene in front of him changed, and he was no longer affected by that supreme aura. What did I just experience? Su Yin was a bit confused. He frowned, unable to figure out what had happened. Soon, he stretched out his limbs, and his aura returned to its peak state. Although he was weakened by the influence of space and time, with a body-nurturing technique, he could restore his body to its peak state in a short period of time. In the next moment, Su Yin was shocked and even felt that it was exaggerated. The treasure trove exceeded his expectations. It was too big and majestic, and there were no stars in the vast starry sky. There were only huge suns steaming with resplendent light, illuminating the mysterious world. A total of 9 suns hung in the starry sky, and each sun was shockingly huge. The 9 suns hung in the sky, suffused with blazing energy. The mysterious world's temperature was also extremely high and unbearable. The 9 suns were like a special layout, somewhat unfathomable. He was cautious. When his gaze fell below, he was surprised. The golden sea was too vast. Even a true immortal would be insignificant in front of it. The seawater here was golden. On the surface of the sea, waves would occasionally surge, causing the starry sky to tremble. Incredible! Suyin didn't see anything for the time being. He landed on the ground. The golden coast was also huge, with golden sand piled up like a golden desert. Now, there were few people in the treasure trove. He didn't know if the Yuan and the others had arrived. The world was too big, and it wouldn't be easy to find them. Has the Baokai been living in this world all this time? Suyin secretly said in his heart. He sat cross-legged on the ground and wasn't in a hurry to study the world's treasure trove. He had to find the Tai Baokai as soon as possible in order to understand the situation here. Suyin concealed his spirit and qi, gradually spreading out his essence, energy, and spirit. At the same time, he wielded the heaven-opening writing brush, which granted Suyin terrifying insight power. It spread out boundlessly and swept across the Golden Coast in an attempt to find the Tai Baotsai's life aura. Originally, Suyin didn't have much hope. Who would have thought that there would be many familiar life auras on the Golden Coast? Suyin was pleasantly surprised. The Baokai had really lived here for a long time. Soon, his heavenly eye blazed with light and saw through the life auras one by one in an attempt to find the Baotsai's location. Boom! Suyan's eyes were like heavenly swords. Under the probing of the eye of heaven escape, the heavenly eye shot out a terrifying radiance that tore through layers of space. Soon, he saw a golden sea of fire that was densely covered in terrifying runes. This was a danger zone, a forbidden zone for life. Under Suyan's observation, there was also a terrifying rebound force. Suyan's body trembled violently, and his eyes bled. His eyeballs were about to explode. He was shocked. What was this place? It was too terrifying and inconceivable. It almost shook him to death. The Baokai can't be trapped in a danger zone, right? In a vast golden desert, there were few people and the temperature was blazing hot. Suyin walked on the scalding ground and calmed his heart to explore. Gradually, fog appeared in front of him. Suyin was shocked. Heavens! The ground looked a little turbid, as if it was covered by a strange substance. The world seemed a little chaotic and unfathomable. Suyan's heart trembled. It was as if he had barged into a world of slaughter that had been set up in advance. But who was it that had set up a trap here and was waiting for him? Or was this a treasure trove of hunters that hunted the experts who passed by? In the foggy world, a bloody light bloomed. The scene changed drastically, becoming extremely ferocious and cruel. There were corpses everywhere. Some of them still had expressions on their faces. Some were surprised, some were terrified, some were smiling. There were dozens of cold corpses. Some of them didn't even know that they were about to face a great calamity. Suyan's face gradually turned cold. If someone had really set up a trap here and treated the passing cultivators as prey, he wouldn't mind killing them all. As expected of the young Devil King, a powerhouse on the monarch ranking, he can actually remain calm in the face of such a situation. Suyan's face turned cold. Someone had set up a trap to kill him. But who was it? Although he was invincible, he believed that in such a short time, the strange heaven sect wouldn't have the time to arrange a trap to kill him. Then, there was only one possibility. Someone had set up a trap here in advance and was waiting for him to come. Then, they must be sure that he would come here. Could it be the Supreme Saintess? Boom! Suddenly, the world that was filled with the smell of blood changed drastically. The void exploded, one after another, and 10 void black holes exploded in succession. This surprised Su Yin. It was the people of the Strange Heaven sect. This was the power of the Strange Heaven sect. He had to admit that their methods were profound and unfathomable. The 10 black holes appeared 10 bloody mountains. It was unknown how many lives they had devoured, and the smell of blood was extremely thick. At the top of the 10 mountains stood the 10 powerhouses of the Strange Heaven sect. There were men and women, old and young. Their auras blended with the bloody mountains, making them seem exceptionally powerful. Young Devil King, you're a master of the Strange Heaven sect. You should know what these 10 mountains mean. The person who spoke was right. Each mountain was densely covered with extremely profound words of the Strange Heaven sect. These were the 10 treasures of the Strange Heaven sect that could activate a great killing formation. Old Ancestor, why are you wasting words with him? The young Devil King has just entered and is definitely in a weakened state. Now is the best time to kill him. That's right. The 10 Worlds formation is an ancient vicious formation. Not to mention the young Devil King. Even a true immortal of the Great Firmament would not be able to break it easily. The people of the Strange Heaven sect spoke with a cruel expression, as if they were certain that they would defeat Su Yin. This was the only way to the Golden Ocean. They were waiting for Su Yin to come to their door. They did not expect the plan to go so smoothly. He really came. Su Yin was dumbfounded. Old Ancestor, the old ancestor of the Strange Heaven sect. This was no small matter. A true immortal of the Great Firmament realm had been waiting here for him for a long time. He, young Devil King, although you have a grudge with the Strange Heaven sect, it has nothing to do with this old man. The shadow hidden in the dark said coldly, as long as you hand over the treasures you took from the 5 Elements treasury, I can let you go. Su Yin suddenly realized that the 5 Elements treasure medicine was the strongest medicine when combined. Otherwise, the effect would be greatly reduced if used alone. Don't underestimate the complete 5 Elements treasured medicine. It was a rare medicine nurtured by heaven and earth, and its value was much more precious than immortal medicines. Unfortunately, the divine water of heaven and earth had already been used by Su Yin. It seemed like this person was the old ancestor of the Strange Heaven sect who took the other 2 ingredients of the 5 Elements treasure medicine. Let me go. Isn't this joke a bit too big? Su Yan's black hair draped over his shoulders. He said coldly, I have important matters to attend to now and have no time to deal with you. I'll give you a chance. Open the 10 Worlds formation for me and send me off respectfully. Otherwise, you'll have to bear the consequences. Chapter 1583. The 10 experts felt that they had heard wrongly. Send him off respectfully? Otherwise, they would have to bear the consequences? This tone made them furious. Their auras erupted, and even the blood-colored mountains came to life. Soon, the 10 blood-colored mountains enlarged rapidly, covering the sky and the earth. How arrogant of you! Why waste words with him? Just suppress him. The experts of the 10 mysterious sky sects were all outstanding figures, and they had a deep understanding of the Tao of mystic arts. As the 10 mountains enlarged, they emitted blood-colored light, causing the power of heaven and earth to fuse together, forming a peak killing formation. Once the 10 Worlds formation was formed, it was as if 10 blood-colored ancient worlds had been opened, and blood-colored energy ripples flowed out. This was an ancient vicious formation that had drunk the blood of all living beings. When it was fully opened, even Su Yin felt pressured. Young Devil King, there are no living souls under the 10 Worlds formation. We'll send you on your way. The 10 experts sneered. They didn't believe that the weak young Devil King would have more combat strength than he had in his prime. The mysterious Sky Sect's ancestor should have mastered the 9 mystic arts escape technique. I've been looking forward to this technique for a long time. Su Yan's expression was cold. His black hair fluttered wildly, and his entire body emitted dense blood essence. His body also emitted a grand aura of the immortal path, and it forcefully resisted the suppression of the storm. He stood in the center, majestic and awe-inspiring. He was like an immortal devil that looked down on all living beings in the world. What a young Devil King. His body is too strong. He can even resist the suppression of the 10 Worlds formation. He doesn't seem to have a period of weakness. How did he endure it? Someone was shocked. Everyone who entered the Golden Ocean region was extremely weak, but Su Yin didn't seem to have a period of weakness. No matter. Although this kid's cultivation is shocking, his primordial spirit is heavily injured. As long as we work together and continuously suppress him with the 10 Worlds formation, we'll definitely be able to exhaust the divine energy in his body. At that time, we'll make him kneel down and beg us like a dog. The 10 disciples of the mysterious sky sect were very confident, and they still looked like they could defeat Su Yan. Their figures merged with the ancient worlds, and they drew the power of the formation to attack Su Yan. Could it be the sovereign sect? Su Yan's eyes flashed with a trace of coldness. He stepped on the world, and his entire body burned like an indestructible immortal furnace. He released a sea of blood essence light that tore apart the boundless world of blood. Dong dong dong. Su Yin took a step forward. The chi flowing in his mortal body was too monstrous. Even the ancient fearsome array formation couldn't conceal Su Yan's strength. The 10 great disciples turned pale with fright. Was this still a human? Even the ancient ominous formation could be shaken by his strength, and it was extremely difficult to stop his footsteps. The blood-colored energy that covered the sky began to collapse layer by layer. Even the 10 great blood mountains were violently shaking under the attack of the abnormal power. Not good. The expressions of the 10 great disciples changed drastically. They felt as if a ferocious dragon had been released from its cage and was about to kill everyone. Open! Su Yin roared and waved his golden fist, smashing it towards one of the mountain peaks. Rumble! The entire mountain peak was shaking from Su Yan's attack. How powerful was Su Yan? Even if he was suppressed by the 10 Worlds' fearsome formation, it was extremely difficult to suppress his shocking combat strength. The entire blood-colored mountain peak began to shake and showed signs of collapsing. Quickly stop him. The disciple on the shaking mountain turned pale. Even with the protection of the mountain peak, he was still shaken by Su Yan's terrifying strength to the point that he coughed out large mouthfuls of blood and was about to fall to the ground. Don't panic. Remove the seal on the mountain peak, and it can suppress this devil. The old ancestor of the mysterious sky sect, who was hiding in the dark, said. Instantly, the 10 great disciples' nervous hearts were calmed, and the seals on the mountain peaks were removed. This ancient formation is really something. No wonder they dared to come and kill me. Su Yan's expression was ice-cold. The 10 great mountains changed, and they were fusing and merging. Suddenly, they transformed into the purgatory of gods and devils. A great killing formation at the peak, in the great golden desert, the number of cultivators who rushed in gradually increased. A few creatures who passed by were all shocked when they saw the birth of the purgatory of blood. Streaks of bloody light surged out one after another, tearing apart the sky, and a terrifying aura overflowed. Who is arranging the great killing formation? Everyone was shocked. The world of bloody light covered the sun, and strands of ancient bloody light flowed out, shaking the heavens and shaking the earth, suppressing the entire space-time. Once the 10 Worlds' ancient formation merged into one, it was majestic and exceptional. Under the continuous suppression, Su Yin was extremely uncomfortable. Blood flowed out of his mouth, and his body trembled. He was about to lose his footing. Even if his magical power overflowed the heavens and his body was tyrannical, it was very difficult for him to match the power of such a grand killing formation. Haha, he can't hold on anymore. The 10 great disciples were pleasantly surprised. The 10 Worlds formation's second form merged the 10 great mountains into one, and the destructive power surged more than 10 times. The powerful young Devil King was battered and exhausted. What are you laughing about? You can't even protect yourselves. Su Yin was very calm and did not panic at all. He shouted, "This killing formation is indeed very powerful, but if it really operates to this level, how many more days can you all live?" A divine sound that was enough to penetrate one's soul exploded in the god and devil purgatory. The 10 great disciples turned pale. They carefully sensed and found that their lifespan was slipping away, and their bodily functions were greatly reduced. It was as if they were gradually dying of old age. "Master, I don't want to die." A disciple cried out in fear, and his heart was in chaos. "Control the formation for me. Don't be distracted." The mysterious sky sect's old ancestor was hiding in the dark. He said with a calm face, "You all won't die. At most, you'll lose some lifespan. After we kill the young Devil King, Master will personally search for wondrous medicines to extend your lifespan." This old ancestor had a very high position in their hearts, and his words were quite effective. The somewhat unstable 10 Worlds formation revolved once again, and a terrifying aura continuously struck down, suppressing Su Yan's body until it became increasingly dim. "He's lying to you," Su Yan said coldly. "What you all said before was right. The strongest state of the 10 Worlds formation can trap a true immortal for a while. The strength of this formation depends on the strength of the sacrifice. Brat." The mysterious Sky Sect's old ancestor was shocked and furious. He did not expect Su Yan to be able to see the weakness of the killing formation. That's right, once the 10 Worlds formation was activated to its strongest state, it needed a sacrifice. Sacrifice! The 10 great disciples were even more terrified. Their hair stood on end, and goosebumps appeared on their bodies. Who would want to die like this? Even if the young Devil King was really killed, it had nothing to do with them. Kill! In an instant, Su Yan erupted. His words had an effect and disturbed the 10 great disciples' minds. Su Yan rose from the ground, and with a rumble, he struck a mountain peak. Following the chaotic formation patterns, he opened a path and killed his way over. "No!" The disciple cried out in fear. Su Yan had charged over just like that. He raised his fist and smashed down like a war god who had descended to the mortal world to slay both gods and demons. Even though there was a blood-colored mountain peak between them, his unparalleled attack had forcefully penetrated the blood-colored formation and smashed into the interior of the mountain. Bang! A disciple trembled violently. Soon, his entire body began to crumble. In the end, he died in despair, exploding inside the blood-colored mountain peak. The entire formation was unstable. Su Yan had destroyed one of the formation core controllers, and he could use this opportunity to destroy the entire formation. At this time, Wu Hongshou, who had been hiding in the dark, finally rushed out. Leaning on his silver cane, he stood on top of the blood-colored mountain peak, controlling the chaotic formation patterns. "Young Devil King, I don't care how strong you are, but you can't escape now," Wu Hongshou coldly said. His mystic Tao had reached the peak, and under his control, the 10 Worlds' ancient formation's power skyrocketed. The blood-colored purgatory rapidly expanded, and finally formed a blood-colored abyss that suppressed Su Yan. What a terrifying formation! The spectators in the distant world were horrified. They saw the blood-colored purgatory turn into a devil's den that devoured all life. The distant world's energy was depleted. The stronger it circulated, the more perverse the killing formation's power was. Look! The spectators were even more shocked. They saw 3 blazing figures shoot out from the blood-colored abyss. "Old thing, you are finally willing to come out. Do you think you can trap me with the 10 Worlds' ancient formation? You are dreaming." The 3 Su Yan roared into the sky and took out 3 supreme treasures: the silver dragon sword, the great solar realm, and the silver glove. When the 3 rare treasures awakened, the entire blood-colored abyss trembled violently. Tsunamis surged into the sky, and various phenomena appeared. The entire blood-colored abyss distorted and was about to explode. Wu Hongshou lost his composure. He was deliberately showing weakness to lure him out. The 3 rare treasures were taken out by Su Yan at the same time. Their terrifying combat strength surged and almost killed the 9 disciples. He was a little alarmed. Didn't they say that the young Devil King's essence soul was severely injured and his combat strength was greatly reduced? How could he still unleash such powerful combat strength? Dong! 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 Just as the blood-colored heavenly abyss was about to be destroyed, a golden bell of the great Tao hung above the blood-colored heavenly abyss, emitting rolling golden ripples. It was filled with a terrifying, soul-killing intent as it charged towards the three Su Yan's consciousness. Young Devil King, it's time for you to die. The silver-haired old woman appeared with a sinister expression. She was interfering with Su Yan's essence soul. She believed that once such a person's essence soul was damaged, his combat strength would definitely be greatly reduced. At that time, the blood-colored abyss would definitely be able to suppress Su Yan. Very good. You are finally willing to come out. The three blazing figures fused into one at lightning speed, transforming into a golden god of war. During the process of fusing with the humanoid puppet, his aura was violet. Boom! The blood-colored abyss trembled and collapsed. The 10 blood-colored heavenly peaks trembled like pebbles. Open! Su Yan roared. His entire body's energy surged as he dominated the sky. The blood-colored abyss exploded. A heaven-splitting Overlord soared into the sky and shook the universe. Along the way, the 9 disciples despaired. Just the aura that Su Yan leaked out was enough to make them feel like they were trapped in an immortal furnace. They were about to be burned alive. The 9 disciples flew out and fell to the ground. It was very difficult for them to get up. Wu Hongshou spat out a mouthful of blood. His old face was ferocious and unsightly. Is he still human? He unleashed his full strength. He was like a dragon of the immortal Tao. He had completely underestimated Su Yan, this young supreme of the celestial court. Immediately after, Su Yan charged into the starry sky. He raised his hand and suppressed the silver-haired old woman who was fleeing. Heavenly beast gauntlets. How did you? The silver-haired old woman was in disbelief. She wanted to unleash her strongest power to resist Su Yan, but she was in despair. How could she fight him? Su Yan had an essence, soul, secret treasure protecting him. She couldn't threaten his essence soul at all. Don't kill me. I'm an elder of the sovereign sect. The silver-haired old woman begged for mercy. She was deeply aware of the strength of the heavenly beast gauntlets. You set a trap to kill me. Even cutting you into pieces isn't enough to vent my hatred. Su Yan shouted coldly. His palm covered space and enveloped the silver-haired old woman, causing her body to tremble and shatter into pieces. Brothers who have erupted today, please vote for me. Chapter 1584. Su Yan charged into the starry sky. His majestic appearance was awe-inspiring. His huge hand was boundless as it descended from the sky. So what if it was an 8th heaven true immortal expert? Su Yan had the heavenly beast glove, so this slap was naturally terrifying. Boom! The entire starry sky exploded, turning into a huge black hole. He's the young Devil King. The onlookers trembled. Who was so ferocious to set up a trap here to trap the young Devil King? Did they want to die? They would never forget the scene of Su Yan being invincible. Reality proved that they really didn't want to die. The killing formation collapsed, and the 8th heaven true immortal was terrified. He couldn't escape and was directly suppressed by Su Yan's palm. Some people felt that the silver glove that Su Yan was wearing was quite terrifying. The silver-haired old woman was very clear that it was made from the skin of a heavenly beast. It was a rare treasure. Su Yan's physical body was already strong. Now that it was combined with the silver glove, his fighting strength was shocking. She was in despair. How could this be? How could this be? Why did he have the heavenly beast glove? What happened between him and the Grand Saintess? Before she could ask any of these questions, her body exploded, and her primordial spirit was also caught by Su Yan. Don't kill me. I have something to say. The silver-haired old woman screamed, her primordial spirit trembling, and her eyes were bloodshot. Are you the former Xia Kunlun? Su Yan's eyes were blazing, and the light emitted was more dazzling than the sun. The silver-haired old woman's primordial spirit was distorted, and she felt that her entire primordial spirit was about to melt. She trembled. Su Yan didn't respond to her, but said, Who sent you here? It's me. It has nothing to do with the Saintess. How did you get the heavenly beast glove? The silver-haired old woman asked. Suyin also felt that if the Grand Saintess really wanted to kill him, it wouldn't be a simple situation. Of course, the Grand Saintess gave it to me, Suyin said with a smile. This is impossible. The silver-haired old woman didn't believe it. The heavenly beast glove was a rare, precious treasure in the sovereign sect, and no one had the guts to give it to others, not even if it was delivery. But how did Suyin snatch it away? She thought of many things in an instant, but she still couldn't figure it out. These few days, we've been alone in a room. Naturally, some wonderful things have happened. Suyin's response caused the silver-haired old woman's eyes to pop out of their sockets. Just as she was about to ask, she discovered that her primordial spirit had exploded. She was filled with unwillingness and despair. She wanted to get to the bottom of this, otherwise she would die without knowing why. Suyin did not give her any chance to ask any questions. His primordial spirit exploded. Immediately after, Suyin coldly looked down at the 9 disciples of the mysterious sky sect, whose faces were filled with despair. In the next moment, Suyin's large hand glowed, and the palm that was covered in a silver glove descended from the sky and collapsed a corner of the golden desert. The large crack spread and quickly extended to the depths of the ground, to an extremely well-hidden secret palace. Old fellow, if you didn't come out just now, I might not have been able to find you. But since you made a move and still want to hide, do you think I, Suyin, am a piece of trash? Suyin shouted coldly, and his large hand glowed as he grabbed the entire secret palace and pulled it out from the depths of the ground. The entire secret palace collapsed. Wu Hongshou's face was purple, and he was furious to the point his lungs were about to explode. He, a dignified golden immortal expert, was dug out from the secret palace by Suyin just like that. It was truly embarrassing, and he wished for nothing more than to find a piece of tofu and kill himself. The silver dragon sword that emitted a terrifying cold light descended onto Wu Hongshou's neck. It landed on Wu Hongshou's neck. Thump! The sword was heavy, and it pressed down on him to kneel on the ground. His old face was hideous. This was a golden immortal expert, and it was truly embarrassing for him to kneel here now. In fact, Suyin even grabbed his disciples and grand disciples and made them kneel together. The winner takes all. Wu Hongshou growled. If you want to kill me, just kill me. Why you have to humiliate me like this? I'm also a dignified golden immortal expert. Just give me a quick death. He was unyielding and seemed to be somewhat domineering, as if he had seen through life and death. His words made the disciples kneeling beside him straighten their backs. They were already at death's door, so what was the use of being afraid? You can live, and so can they. Suyin gave hope to the 9 despairing disciples. He said coldly, hand over the 9 great heaven-escape secret techniques of the Odd Heaven sect, and you can live. You. Wu Hongshou's finger trembled as he pointed at Suyin and roared, you're dreaming. Even if you kill me, I won't bow my head, let alone betray the sect. As soon as he finished speaking, the silver dragon sword instantly cut off a disciple's head, and it rolled to the ground. The other 8 disciples trembled in fear as they growled, Patriarch, we don't want to die. All of you shut up. Wu Hongshou was flustered and exasperated. How'd I train you bunch of good-for-nothings? Isn't it just death? Why should I be afraid? Puff, puff. Another 2 heads fell to the ground, and the smell of blood spread. The remaining 6 disciples were in despair. Someone shouted, Patriarch, if you die, there will be nothing left. Anyway, you're not a native of the Odd Heaven sect, and neither are we. Do you want to die or live? Suyin was like a demon lord standing in hell, holding a blood-stained killing sword as he stared at Wu Hongshou, giving him a great shock. Stop dreaming. Wu Hongshou was still very unyielding, and his fists were clenched tightly by Li. Puff, puff, puff. In the next moment, the remaining 6 disciples of the Odd Heaven sect were all beheaded. The 10 disciples he had brought were all dead, and not a single one survived. Wu Hongshou's body trembled. The 10 disciples he had painstakingly nurtured were all killed just like that. Everything was for naught. If they died, there would be nothing left. There's still one last chance. The bloodstained sword fell on Wu Hongshou's neck, and a cold voice rang out. Do you want to die or live? You only have one chance. I advise you to think carefully. Don't regret it for the rest of your life. A cold aura spread out, and Su Yan's essence, energy, and spirit were infinitely strong. He looked down at Wu Hongshou, giving him an even colder shock. Seeing that he didn't answer, his forehead was covered in cold sweat. Su Yan's sword cut off one of his arms. Wu Hongshou cried out in pain, and cold sweat covered his body. He was suffocating, and some words were difficult to say. Then be on your way. Su Yan's killing sword gradually slashed toward Wu Hongshou's head. Stop! Wu Hongshou was so suffocated that he was about to explode. Finally, his face twisted as he roared. Give me the 5 elements treasured medicine. Su Yan was ecstatic. This old man was really afraid of death. A true immortal of the great, all-embracing heaven had severed his own life because he wanted to gain something. Su Yan could see that his time was up, and he didn't have much time left. Of course, the most important thing was that he was born and raised in the mysterious heaven sect. Su Yan attacked. He broke through his psychological barrier and obtained one of the inheritances he wanted the most. That depends on your sincerity. Su Yan suppressed the excitement in his heart and said indifferently, Don't try to play tricks with me. I know a lot of the 9 mystical escape techniques. Also, you don't have to doubt my sincerity. I, Su Yan, am a man of my words. Wu Hongshou was very straightforward. He directly took out the 6 gates escape technique Dao book. You, Su Yan pointed at Wu Hongshou. This old man actually kept the mystical escape technique Dao book close to his body. He was too bold. At the same time, Su Yan miscalculated. If he killed him directly, the mystical escape technique Dao book would be easy to obtain. I believe in your sincerity. Wu Hongshou said in a low voice, the 9 mystical escape techniques of the mysterious heaven sect. Not a single page is allowed to be taken out of the sect. It can be used against experts below the ancestor level. You sneaked in. The mysterious heaven sect doesn't know that you're here, right? Su Yan asked. He also used his divine sense to check the 6 gates escape technique Dao book. Earth escape technique, cloud escape technique, wind escape technique, tiger shield technique, ghost escape technique. The 9 mystical escape techniques, heaven escape technique, earth escape technique, human escape technique, dragon escape technique, tiger escape technique, ghost escape technique, cloud escape technique, god escape technique Dao book, wind escape technique. 9 great escape techniques combined into one and evolved into the strongest mystical escape technique. What caused Su Yan to be overjoyed was that out of the 6 great escape techniques, only the tiger escape technique was grasped by him. He did not know the rest. In other words, he had now obtained 8 great escape techniques of the 9 escape techniques of the mystical gate. Su Yan sucked in a breath of cold air and tried to suppress the ecstasy in his heart. He coldly shouted, What about the human escape technique? Everyone knew that any of the 9 mystical escape techniques had shocking effects. However, the heaven escape technique and the human escape technique were the core chapters. The human escape technique was especially important. Using the body as an escape technique was the pinnacle of the 9 great escape techniques. It was also the technique that Su Yan desired the most. However, Su Yan didn't expect that the most important escape technique was missing from the 6 great escape techniques. Wu Hongshou had already betrayed the mysterious heaven sect. He opened his heart and said, I'm not a native disciple of the mysterious heaven sect. The mysterious heaven sect doesn't have complete trust in me. There are 8 great escape techniques in the mysterious heaven sect, and I have mastered 6 of them. As for the other 2, the human escape technique and the dragon escape technique, they are extremely important. They didn't pass them on to me. Su Yan waved his sleeves and put away the 6 great movement techniques. He cried out in joy in his heart. With the heaven-opening writing brush, he could master these escape techniques in a short time. When the time came, he could gather the power of the 8 escape techniques and evolve them into the pinnacle of mystical escape techniques. Young Devil King. Seeing him turn and leave, Wu Hongshou panicked. Su Yan waved his hand and gave Wu Hongshou 2 of the 5 elements elixirs. However, Wu Hongshou was not satisfied. he still lacked the divine water of heaven and earth. Su Yin was very generous. He took out a divine fetus stone essence and gave it to Wu Hongshou as compensation. Happy cooperation. In short, his unexpected gains were too great. Su Yin laughed loudly, shaking heaven and earth. I actually surrendered, admitted defeat, and betrayed. Wu Hongshou lay paralyzed on the ground, panting heavily. He had joined the mysterious heaven sect for a long time and became a grand heavenly realm expert. Now that he was nearing the end of his life, the family couldn't give an ancestor who was about to die a super elixir to prolong his life. However, who would have thought that something like this would happen? Wu Hongshou suddenly regretted it. However, his heart soon turned cold. When a person dies, the lamp goes out. When one dies, nothing is left. Chapter 3. Chapter 1585. Time flew by, and 3 days had passed. Su Yin was traversing the Golden Coast, exploring and studying the 9 mystical escape techniques. One had to admit that this world was too big. It was boundless and unimaginably huge. The golden desert stretched as far as the eye could see. Su Yin turned into a grain of sand and merged with the golden desert. It was hard to tell which was real and which was fake. Soon, he was roaming. The Earth escape technique was an extremely terrifying technique. With the help of the Earth veins, one could cross to the other side of the Earth in a short time. Boom! In an instant, a grain of sand was shot up. Strong winds billowed, and a huge tornado appeared on the desert. It surged violently and exploded with earth-shattering sounds. Above the vast and empty desert, a few people were shocked. When they looked into the distance, the scene was terrifying. The tornado was indomitable and surging, causing the heavens to collapse and the earth to split apart. Layers of sand were swept up and quickly and violently tore apart the void. What a strong wind! What evil is happening? Everyone was in a daze. They had no idea what was going on. This was an unexpected event, and it quickly disappeared without a trace. This was the wind escape technique. It was extremely turbulent. Under any circumstances, it could borrow the power of time and space to produce strong winds. A gust of wind quickly dissipated and rushed into the starry sky. Suddenly, a strange phenomenon occurred. A golden cloud was born and covered the starry sky. Everyone was stunned. What was going on? The cloud was too big, covering 100,000 li. The scene was quite frightening. Vaguely, a terrifying figure could be seen in the clouds, as if a heavenly sovereign had descended to the mortal world. The cloud escape technique was in the form of the heavens pressing down on the earth. It was extremely shocking. Roar! Suddenly, a loud roar exploded, shattering the huge cloud layer. Many onlookers felt a headache coming. They did not know what was going on, but they did not see where the roar came from. No one noticed that a shadow was passing through the void. It was blurry, strange, and erratic. It appeared and disappeared unpredictably, merging with the heaven and earth. Soon, the wind escape technique erupted. Terrifying waves flowed out. Everywhere it passed, the crowd was shocked and felt as if their bodies were about to explode. Of course, this aura only lasted for a moment before disappearing without a trace. The entire area was thrown into chaos. What was the cause of the supernatural incident just now? This was the ghost escape, hiding in the nothingness. It merged with heaven and earth's great power, instantly attacking murderously. It could erupt with great killing techniques that were at the peak of perfection. It was extremely strange, impossible to defend against. In short, Su Yin was running amok on the Gold Coast, calling the wind and summoning the rain. With the heaven-opening writing brush, he could easily comprehend the essence of the 8 escape techniques. Although he couldn't completely master it, it wouldn't be a problem if he was given some time. Finally, at this moment, Su Yin approached the magnificent Golden Sea. Even from afar, the deafening roar of the tsunami could be heard. It was accompanied by a surging, blazing aura that made one's mouth dry up. This is the real ocean. Su Yan's silhouette appeared and gazed at the vast and boundless ocean. He looked at the raging waves on the surface of the sea, each of which could surge into the starry skies. The golden ocean was like a golden sea of fire. It stretched across the horizon, giving people a visual impact. Someone's crossing the sea. At this moment, Su Yin discovered that there was a huge ship crossing the surface of the sea. The hull of the ship was huge, like a treasure ship that traveled through the void. The defensive power it emitted was extremely shocking, able to withstand the impact of the huge waves. There were some powerful living beings on the treasure ship. Up until now, no one knew where the fortune of the golden treasure trove was hidden. Some people felt that it was very likely to be on the other side of the sea and wanted to swim over to take a look. There were also many cultivators crossing the surface of the sea. Boom! All of a sudden, a blazing aura filled the air. In a certain sea region, raging waves surged, and a colossal creature suddenly emerged from the bottom of the sea, roaring like a prehistoric beast. An expert who was crossing the void had a terrified expression. He was as weak as an ant. He was in despair as his entire body was devoured. The colossal beast figure also disappeared in a flash, flowing with shocking, ferocious might. A sea beast! Su Yin was astonished. His eyes glowed as he caught sight of the creature in the sea. It was as if he saw a huge fish rushing out. It was quite frightening, just like an immemorial dragonfish. Its explosive power was frightening. What a big fish! What kind of fish is this? It looked somewhat familiar. Su Yan's expression was uncertain. Many cultivators on the shore were used to it. This sea beast had its own life and had hunted many experts who crossed the sea. Some people tried to capture the creature in the sea to study, but the sea beast appeared and disappeared unpredictably in the golden ocean. It was very difficult to lock onto its tracks. Even the young supreme beings found it difficult to suppress it. Of course, they didn't want to waste their strength to do it. Su Yin couldn't figure it out for a while. He had a deep fear of this golden treasure trove. The layout was too big. Even with his attainments in the occult arts, he couldn't see the specific situation in a short period of time. Heaven and earth were mysterious, but in the end, the most fundamental things were still there. Su Yin wasn't in a hurry. He explored the shore. He could feel that the Baotsai's life aura was relatively richer. This meant that the Baokai had lived here for a long time. Fish bones. Soon, Su Yin was surprised to find some fish bones. The bone spurs weren't small. They were like snow-white sticks. This meant that the fish's body was very big. The fish meat had been eaten clean, and there were many fish bones on the ground. Su Yin grabbed a bone and squeezed it hard. He found that it was very hard, like a piece of divine iron. However, it was also crushed by Su Yin. He had reason to suspect that these were true immortal realm big fish. Could it be that the terrifying creature at the bottom of the sea was equivalent to the peak of the true immortal realm? Moreover, because it was in the sea, this kind of creature's fighting strength was extremely shocking. Is it the Baokai? Next, Su Yin was pleasantly surprised. He searched the entire shore and found countless fish bones. He found a lot of hair and even some broken bones in a certain place. Buzz! Su Yan's eyes widened. He stared at the broken bones and hair. Soon, he traced back to the source and caught a familiar life aura. It was definitely the Tai Baokai. Su Yan's heart thumped wildly. He said in shock, "This guy has been enjoying life here every day, eating fish. It's been reborn. How many treasures has it eaten?" Su Yin had reason to suspect that the Baotsai's harvest was too great. Based on its personality, it would never leave behind any useful treasures. It must have taken them all away. In that case, among the strange fish in the sea, the big one was definitely something it couldn't handle. The other small fishes had all fallen into the Baotsai's stomach. Su Yin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The Emperor Road had been open for 1 or 2 years. Only the heavens knew how many good things the Baokai had eaten during this period of time. If it could be reborn, one could only imagine how much benefit the Baokai had gained. Then, Su Yan's eyes were a little red. The monster in the sea was a big divine fish. It must have a stronger effect. It's something good enough to be reborn. It's a great tonic. I should find a way to catch one and study it. It feels familiar. Su Yan's heart was burning. At present, the experts gathered in the treasure trove had yet to discover the effects of the sea monster. Su Yin felt that this was an opportunity. Immediately after, he also rushed into the sea. He originally wanted to dive into the sea and catch the big fish. However, Su Yin underestimated the golden seawater. It contained a very special force that blocked Su Yin. Once he fell into the sea, his probing power would be greatly reduced. Su Yin frowned and climbed out of the sea. In an instant, he was shocked. He sensed a peerless aura emanating. He felt incredulous. Could this sea have bred a big fish that surpassed the level of a true immortal? If that was the case, who could match it? All the cultivators would die here. No matter how strong Su Yin and the others were now, going against a Grand Luo was like plucking the fur from a tiger's butt. They were not on the same level at all. Something's not right. What's that? Su Yan's eyes widened and shot out light as he looked at the sea in the distance. That sea was shaking violently, and the range was extremely wide. Something was trying to come out of the sea, and it caused thousands of waves. It was terrifying beyond compare. On the surface of the sea, there were huge tsunamis and storms. Some of the experts crossing the sea were scared out of their wits and fled frantically. What's that? Let's go take a look. The golden treasure ship was huge. It sailed on the sea and could withstand the attacks of tsunamis. On the ship, the Tongtian young master, the marvelous sky saint, Yin Juanhao, and a series of saint-level figures stood on the ship. There's a creature in the sea. Many people shouted. The golden sea was illuminated with a dazzling light. Vaguely, a terrifying corpse came out. It flowed with an unparalleled aura and spewed out world-burning light. It was about to burn down the entire universe's sea of stars. Oh my God, what's that? All living beings were shocked, and Su Yan's face paled. This was not a living being, but a dead being. However, even though it had fallen for a long time, it still emitted an unparalleled fluctuation. It was hard to imagine how powerful it had been when it was alive. The golden bone was at least 1,000,000 feet long. It was too powerful and unimaginable. Its ferocious might was shocking. The 1,000,000 feet long skeleton was densely covered with ancient runes, especially on the forehead. The holy light shattered the clouds and tore the golden starry sky apart. It hit the sun in the sky and made it tremble violently. It's a complete sacred art. Su Yan's eyes widened. He was very excited. This was definitely a supreme creature. Its value was unimaginable. Quick! Yin Juanhao and the others shouted excitedly. Not to mention the supreme sacred art. Even the value of the skeleton was unimaginable. Just from a heavenly beast glove Su Yan obtained, they could infer that even a bone of this creature was an incredible treasure. Reflect. Su Yan roared. His heavenly eye shone, and the power of the mystical gates spread out. The heaven-opening brush was also revived. In an instant, Su Yan's insight was peerless. He traced the skeleton's origin and wanted to see what kind of creature it was. Soon, Su Yan was dumbfounded. He suddenly saw a fish collapse the entire golden sea and turn into a palm. It spread its wings and split open the universe. It was so majestic that it was difficult to see its full appearance. Su Yan's body trembled violently. Blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. His body seemed to explode. He immediately cut off the connection and didn't dare to look. This creature was too powerful. Even if it was dead, he couldn't blaspheme it. Unbelievable. This is the Kuan Peng's sacred art. A complete sacred art. Su Yan sucked in a cold breath. This was a priceless secret art. It was the Kuan Peng's supreme sacred art. In any orthodoxy, it would be his sect-guarding secret art. He clenched his fists, and his chest rose and fell violently. This was a great opportunity. Chapter 1586. The Kuan Peng was an extinct creature. It was recorded in ancient books that this race's innate divine ability was not inferior to the true dragon secret technique or the ancestral phoenix secret technique. It was comparable to the strongest divine ability in history. It was said that its attack power was unparalleled. This divine ability even focused on the physical body. This was an invincible saint technique. Its value was too shocking. It was not something treasures like the immortal fetus stone could compare to. It would be a secret technique in any orthodoxy. Su Yin did not expect that there would be an unparalleled ancient corpse in the sea. Its innate divine ability was also intact. If it could be salvaged, it would have a great impact on the entire race. Boom! The golden treasure ship sailed on the surface of the sea, facing the rolling waves. The huge ship's body shone brightly. It was densely covered with mysterious runes, and dragons and tigers appeared to protect the treasure ship, allowing it to travel unhindered. This was the most precious treasure of the Odd Heavens sect. The treasure ship, controlled by the saint, could travel through the void. Even in the void of the universe, it could travel unimpeded and could cut off attacks and invasions. In fact, at this moment, the Odd Heavens saint was also excited. He almost shouted in his heart. His mastery of the odd arts was also at the peak. He saw the origin of the unparalleled ancient corpse and saw some of its original scenes. This was the unparalleled divine ability of the Kuan Peng lineage. It could be said that this was the most powerful creation unearthed in the Emperor Road so far. It could also be compared to the most powerful creation in history. They are going to salvage the ancient corpse. Many people cried out loudly. They were extremely anxious inside. The value of an ancient corpse alone was already immeasurable. Every piece of bone could be refined into a world-shocking killing weapon, let alone an unmatched ancient corpse's complete frontal bone. It was said that an innate divine ability would appear. Therefore, it was difficult to determine the exact value of this ancient corpse. Su Yin was also restless. He wanted to go and fight for it. However, he calmed himself down and smiled bitterly. Salvaging the ancient corpse? Are they tired of living? Even a true immortal of the great, all-embracing heaven would not be able to salvage this kind of corpse easily. Su Yin had already determined that the unparalleled ancient corpse still had an unparalleled aura. If a true immortal wanted to suppress the Kuan Peng ancient corpse and take it away, the chances were quite slim. Soon, Su Yin fiercely extinguished the flames of desire in his heart and thought to himself, "It is impossible for the mysterious skies saint to obtain it. I have to find an opportunity. If there's an opportunity, I will definitely be able to find other methods to retrieve this Kuan Peng's corpse." Su Yin gave up for the time being. At present, there was no hope at all. At this moment, Su Yin realized that the bottom of the sea he was at was not calm. He vaguely caught a prehistoric, ominous aura blooming and locking onto him. Su Yin quietly clenched his fists. He was not in a hurry to make a move. The fighting power of the big fish in the sea was fierce. If he took the initiative, it was very likely that he would scare the big fish away. He calmed himself down and waited for the fish to take the bait. This big fish seemed to have caught on to Su Yin's strength and did not act rashly. As time passed, this big fish gradually became impatient. A pair of faintly discernible golden eyes emitted ominous light. They were like two blazing suns as they stared at Su Yin. "It's coming." Su Yin's mind tensed up. He used the secret of ghost evasion to detect that the fish was approaching him. However, its movements were quite exquisite. There was not even a ripple on the surface of the sea. Gradually, Su Yin felt shocked. This fish was too big. It was at least 1,000 feet long. How much chi of heaven and earth did it swallow to grow to this size? Su Yin was speechless. He paid more attention to the divine fish in the sea. When it stood up, it could reach the sky. Only God knew how much chi of heaven and earth it had swallowed. Boom! The surface of the sea suddenly exploded as the big fish soared into the sky. Its whole body was densely covered in golden scales. Its eyes were blazing like the sun, and its body was flowing with overflowing yang energy. It was extremely terrifying. Moreover, it opened its mouth and swallowed Su Yin. "Look, the monster is coming out again. This person is going to be unlucky. He'll be eaten until there's nothing left." At present, the world didn't know how many sea beasts there were in the Golden Sea region. It made a great commotion when it went out to sea. Tens of thousands of raging waves rushed towards Su Yin. Some experts who had just entered the sea region were dumbfounded. It was as if they had seen a fish. Its body was too big. Half of its body was floating in the air like an immemorial mountain. Just how big was it? How many years had it lived? It's this fish that's going to be unlucky, right? However, some people recognized that the one occupying the sea region was the young Devil King. Su Yin was sitting cross-legged in the air in complete silence. He was fishing and waiting for the fish to take the bait. Attack! Su Yan's eyes were wide open. His large hand suddenly rose and transformed into the boundless palm to suppress the big fish. Su Yan's palm scattered with golden splendor and was suffused with boundless profundities. His entire hand blotted out the sky in an instant. This strike was heavy and ferocious as it directly slapped the big golden fish's mouth. Bang! The big fish trembled violently. Su Yan's palm struck it until its eyes rolled back, and it almost fainted in the water. Su Yan's strength was so frightening that the big fish was stunned. He laughed as the boundless palm enveloped downwards. He wanted to grab the golden divine fish and study just what kind of species it was. It actually had the miraculous effect of being reborn. How long? Tens of thousands of raging waves were raised on the sea surface. The commotion was so great that it blotted out the sky and covered the earth. A huge fishtail that looked like the tail of a true dragon struck out with a rumble, destroying the void. It contained boundless strength that could easily tear the void apart. What a divine fish! It's truly extraordinary. Su Yan's expression changed. This fish's strength was truly barbaric. Once struck, one would most likely be seriously injured. It was equivalent to being smashed by an immemorial mountain. Su Yin used the power of the ghost evasion to escape. However, the void he left behind completely exploded, forming a huge black hole. This sea beast is too strong. I wonder what kind of creature it is. It looks like a fish, but isn't its size a bit too big? The spectators were frightened. If the barbaric strength of the golden divine fish struck a human body, it would most likely explode. In the next moment, Su Yan's figure strangely appeared and landed on the back of the big fish. No one saw how Su Yin did it. It was like an innate divine ability. He stood on the fish's back with his legs glowing as he suppressed the big fish. However, this fish's strength was becoming more and more shocking. Its body flowed with vigorous yang energy like a furnace of heaven and earth, evaporating the seawater in this sea region. The fish's body trembled violently like a true dragon. It surged with waves of terrifying energy that attacked Su Yin. It's the extreme yang fish. Su Yin sucked in a breath of cold air. He finally recognized what this thing was. In the past, Su Yin had fished out a large number of extreme yang fish and extreme yin fish from the black-yellow universe's yin-yang ancient river. However, Su Yin had never seen such a large extreme yang fish. This thing was a great supplement, and its value was unimaginable. This was 1,000 feet long extreme yang fish. Who knew how long it had been nurtured for? Moreover, seeing this thing here, Su Yin couldn't help but associate it with the Dark Calamity. All of this was related to the Dark Calamity. Su Yin couldn't help but feel apprehensive. Could this be a prehistoric time? A Tao field from billions of years ago? Boom! The sea region constantly shook as the golden fish crazily struggled. Huge tsunamis appeared on the surface of the sea, rolling and sweeping through everything. The sea region within 100,000 miles was about to explode. However, no matter how much the extreme yang fish struggled, Su Yan's body remained standing on its back from beginning to end. During this process, Su Yan didn't feel good either. His whole body was trembling from the impact, and his body was in pain. He thought to himself that this strange fish was truly an invincible creature in the sea. It was like a special dragonfish. Its strength was too astonishing. Moreover, it attacked Su Yin madly with all kinds of energy. In the end, Su Yin circulated the Origin Sutra and withstood the attacks that filled the sky. Moreover, the energy emitted from his legs was continuously suppressing the extreme yang fish. In a short period of time, the sea region was in chaos. Endless cracks appeared, and it was extremely difficult for seawater to flow in. One could well imagine how intense the battle here was. The distant spectators were all dumbfounded. Even the powerful young demon king was shaken to the point where he couldn't stand steadily. This fish was stirring up trouble and was becoming increasingly savage. It emitted boundless yang energy that overflowed into the sky and wanted to drown Su Yin. Suppress. Su Yin roared loudly. He was operating his aura to the extreme. His strength was boundless as he stood on the fish's back. His hair danced in the wind like a deity suppressing the sea. This 3,000-meter-long extreme yang fish was directly suppressed to the point where it trembled. In the end, it let out a loud roar as its entire body lit up. It was bathed in yang energy and poured out an even more astonishing tempest. The waves it stirred up were even crashing into the starry skies. Boundless. Su Yan's palm soared up in an instant. The center of his palm glowed as it nurtured the sun, moon, and stars. The cosmos, rivers, and mountains. His entire palm seemed boundless as it slammed down from the heavens. Boundless ocean. This palm was also like a vast ocean as it suppressed the extreme yang fish. The entire fish was also enveloped by Su Yan's large palm. The young demon king has suppressed the monster. The experts who saw this scene from afar cried out. Some were alarmed and said, "How powerful is the young demon king? He's a young supreme expert of the celestial court. But he actually spent so much of Dali's aura to suppress the monster. We have to be careful. If we're targeted by the monster, even if we don't die, we'll be half crippled." Many people trembled. One had to know that there were many mysterious sea beasts in this sea region. If they were to encounter one, they would probably be nursing a grievance. But the value of this fish is probably very high. Some people's eyes turned red. A 3,000-meter-long strange fish was certainly a great tonic. However, it was too difficult to suppress this thing. Without powerful battle strength, it was impossible to suppress this sea beast. Su Yan's expression was calm. His large palm held the extreme yang fish, but his heart was shaken by its strength. A 3,000-meter-long extreme yang fish. This is a diluted treasure. Some cracks appeared on Su Yan's palm, and his bones were about to break. Gradually, the extreme yang fish's struggle became weaker and weaker. After all, it was just a fish. Its energy was limited. After another 100 breaths, the extreme yang fish became completely silent. "Very good, huh?" Su Yan revealed a satisfied smile. He had finally suppressed it. Just as Su Yan was about to put away the extreme yang fish, an arrow suddenly shot out from the end of the sea. Whoosh! Like a golden lightning, it tore through the void and headed straight for Su Yan's forehead. "You're courting death." Su Yan's expression changed. Was he being treated like a sea beast and shot to death? The person who shot him was too overbearing, and it angered Su Yan. Many people exclaimed when they saw Su Yan being torn apart by the arrow. Then they realized that it was just an illusion. Su Yan had disappeared. He appeared and disappeared like a ghost. He avoided the arrow with the power of ghost evasion and crossed the void with the power of wind evasion. "We meet again." At this moment, a man with a blazing figure walked over. He walked with a majestic gait. His body was masculine and domineering, and he was filled with an immortal and indestructible heavenly might. This was the immortal golden body. It was called the indestructible body. The surroundings were in an uproar. Jin Yangyun of the immortal tribe had come. Obviously, he was here for the extreme yang fish. Experts who walked the path of the physical body were especially interested in such a great tonic. "So it's you." Su Yan's figure appeared. He saw the person who came. Jin Yangyun sneered. "Young Devil King, you stole my divine fetus stone. Let's settle this score. I advise you not to provoke me." Su Yan's eyes were like lightning. He stood above the sea, and his powerful aura spread out in all directions. "Hand over your spoils of war as an apology." Jin Yangyun sneered. "Otherwise, I'll let you know who the indestructible body belongs to." Chapter 1587. Jin Yangyun's body was golden, and his qi and blood were surging vigorously. Streams of qi and blood rushed out of his body through his pores, shaking the heaven and earth. The immortal race is known for their physical bodies, but the young Devil King's physical strength is also exceptional, someone muttered, feeling that this was going to be a fierce battle. The Devil King's primordial spirit is injured. Someone frowned and said, "He's not in his peak condition. I don't know who will win this battle." Jin Yangyun's strength was undeniable. He came from a young overlord of the immortal race. This race had an ancient inheritance and was incomparably glorious. There were young supreme beings born in every generation, and in this generation of the immortal race, there were three who had cultivated their golden bodies to the initial success stage. A supreme treasure body at the initial success stage was an almost invincible existence. Although Jin Yangyun wasn't the strongest, his battle strength was extremely strong. His pair of gradually golden eyes looked down at Su Yan. "Ha ha ha." Su Yan laughed. His long black hair draped over his shoulders as he stood above the sea with his hands behind his back. "What are you laughing at?" Jin Yangyun's expression sank. He felt that Su Yan was looking down on him. Although he didn't know how Su Yan's constitution had evolved, it was something that belonged to the immortal race. He had to figure it out. "You don't have the ability to catch your own fish, so you came to steal mine," Su Yan said coldly. "You're quite confident. You're thinking too much. I don't care about the golden divine fish. My race doesn't lack heaven and earth spiritual items to replenish their qi and blood." Jin Yangyun was very direct. He looked down at Su Yan with killing intent blooming in his eyes. "What? You lost to the Xian people's #1 supreme being, and now you want to regain your lost face through me?" Su Yan chuckled. "But aren't you looking for the wrong person?" Jin Yangyun's expression was cold. He didn't say anything else, but Su Yan was right. Back then, he had lost to the Xian people's #1 supreme being, which was a great humiliation in his life. He had always wanted to establish his might. Wasn't Su Yan the best choice? "Why are you wasting your breath? If you don't apologize, then come and fight." Jin Yangyun let out a long howl. His flesh shell turned golden, and even his hair, pupils, and body hair turned golden. Suddenly, an immortal sun was born above the Golden Sea region. It illuminated the universe and emitted an indescribable pressure that intimidated all living beings in the universe. At the same time, Su Yan's aura also changed. His body also shone with a golden radiance. He transformed into a golden battle immortal and stood above the sea region. His divine might was vast and mighty like the waves of the sea. Even though the two erupting experts were separated by a great distance, their gazes met. Their auras were released, forming an energy vortex that shattered the void. Even the surface of the sea surged with great waves, roaring and roaring. What kind of power was this? Everyone's hearts trembled. This was a confrontation between unmatched constitutions. World-shocking divine might was born, oppressing them until they felt suffocated. Large amounts of spectators backed up one after another to make space for them. At the same time, there were also people who were looking forward to the battle between two unmatched precious physiques. This was a rare battlefield, and it was bound to be a fierce battle between dragons and tigers. I advise you not to use the immortal golden body to fight me. Even though your indestructible body has reached the small success stage, this type of constitution is exclusive to our race. Yours is simply not enough." Jin Yangyun spat coldly, as if he wanted to fight the young Devil King to regain his lost face. "Why are you wasting your breath? Make your move." Su Yan's divine eyes were like lightning. He waved his hand and said, "If even you can't suppress me, how am I supposed to suppress the Xian people's #1 supreme being in the future?" These shocking words exploded like a clap of thunder, suppressing the distant spectators. They were all astonished. Could it be that the young Devil King still had the courage and determination to fight for supremacy on the Emperor rankings in the future? Shameless boasting thing, I'll let you know the strongest form of the indestructible body. Jin Yangyun was furious. He rushed over in a flash. His figure was like a golden dragon as he crashed through the void and arrived in front of Su Yan while brandishing his fists. Dawn! The heaven and earth trembled violently. This punch was incomparably overbearing, containing the will to kill Su Yan. The vast sea trembled. Not only was the fist powerful, but it also contained the power of the Tao scriptures. Without a doubt, this was Jin Yongyun's strongest form. He wanted to suppress Su Yin and establish his prestige. Then I'll see which is stronger, your race's immortal golden body or my immortal golden body. Su Yan's eyes suddenly widened. His figure rumbled as he rushed forward, emitting a thunderous attack. He formed a fist and punched out. The explosive power of the two was quite powerful. The fist collided, causing a loud noise to resound. The two golden shells resembled metal bodies, emitting thunderous sounds. One had to admit that their precious bodies were too powerful. They were fighting in close quarters. It was a battle of pure physical strength. They were fighting each other. This is a supreme, precious body, equivalent to an indestructible diamond body. I don't know how the young Devil King cultivated it, but he's evenly matched with Jin Yongyun. Many people were shocked. The two shells emitted metallic sounds as if they were immortal iron clashing together. They collided continuously for more than 10 times. During the process, Jin Yongyun became stronger and stronger. In the end, his long golden hair danced wildly like a waterfall. His battle posture was quite wild. He let out a loud roar. The indestructible bloodline in his flesh shell bloomed, flowing with a terrifying pressure. The indestructible body belongs to my race. You can't do it. Jin Yongyun emitted an even more ferocious punch. He wanted to blow Su Yin apart with one punch. If it was a pure battle of supreme, precious bodies, he couldn't even suppress Su Yin. The entire indestructible race would lose face. One had to know that this was a supreme constitution exclusive to their race. The ferocious punch exploded. The fist was like an indestructible sun, accompanied by the blossoming of the ancient indestructible bloodline. A huge golden figure appeared behind Jin Yongyun, like a golden overlord overlooking all living things. What terrifying power! Everyone's hearts trembled. This was a confrontation between young supreme beings. The entire sea region was violently shaking as it bombarded Su Yin. Su Yan's hair danced wildly. His majestic posture was vaguely imposing. He raised his large hand and suppressed forward. You can't do it. Bring out your true strength. The indestructible body belongs to our race. Jin Yongyun seemed to have gone mad. His battle posture was quite savage and tyrannical. This was his strongest state. The indestructible bloodline matched with the indestructible golden body. His vitality was vigorous to the extreme, and his flesh shell was even more terrifying than a true dragon's. Sure enough, as Su Yin charged forward, he was attacked by a shocking power. But his majestic posture was still blazing. In the end, he was enraged by Jin Yongyun's words. As you wish, Su Yin shouted coldly. How valiant was he! In his peak state, Su Yan's fist was as vast as the heavens. It was as if the universe was pouring down in reverse. In an instant, a majestic aura was emitted. An invincible aura filled the air. This was an unchangeable momentum. The power of the strong was as majestic as the sea. The momentum of the fist was so shocking that it made the starry sky vast and mighty. It was about to strike down the next sun. Kill! Su Yin roared and punched forward, shattering everything in its path. This was the attitude of invincibility. The strongest belief obliterated the power of the indestructible bloodline. The unparalleled fist solidly smashed on a Jin Yongyun's fist. Suddenly, the scene of heaven and earth changed greatly. Large amounts of blood rained down. The scene was somewhat tragic. Jin Yongyun's entire fist was torn apart. The eerie white bones could be seen. His face was twitching. He couldn't suppress Su Yan's fist. He always felt that Su Yan's fist was like the universe covering it. It was impossible to match. His entire body flew out. His arm was about to collapse. His eyes were filled with bright red blood. His entire person went berserk. Ah! Jin Yongyun screamed. He knew that he had encountered a powerful enemy. He had underestimated Su Yan. The other party's mastery of Tao and Tao was at the peak. This was the essence of battle that Su Yan had comprehended under the pressure of the Xian people's sect leader. Of course, he wasn't weak either. He activated his ancestral heavenly art. This was the immortal heavenly art. It stimulated the bloodline in his body to expand. His flesh shell also enlarged. Soon, he turned into a blood-stained, indestructible star. Indestructible fist. He roared angrily. The blood-stained golden fist shone with divine light. It flowed with endless power. It was about to strike down the entire sky. This fist was unparalleled. It carried the majesty of the indestructible race's physical body. His battle aura surged. He was invincible. Once again, he attacked Su Yan. Boom! Su Yan's fist rose. It was the same fist as before, but it was even more shocking. The whole world was a little gloomy. Grand fluctuations bloomed. They could easily suppress people's souls. Su Yan's fist seemed to be opening up the universe. All kinds of strange phenomena flowed and bloomed with it. Finally, this fist exploded. It looked down on everything and blasted forward. The cruel scene made all the onlookers fall silent. Jin Yangyun was defeated once again. No matter how shocking his fist was, he couldn't suppress Su Yan's fist. His fist, which was originally torn to pieces, directly exploded. Jin Yangyun screamed and spat out a mouthful of blood. His blood-stained body flew out and was about to fly to the end of the sea. However, what greeted him was a blazing figure. In an instant, it traversed the void. A shocking aura bloomed, stirring up the sea and setting off tens of thousands of stormy waves. Young Devil King, Jin Yangyun was frightened. He had seriously underestimated the young Devil King. This person had absolute combat strength. Even if his primordial spirit was damaged, it was enough to rank him among the top experts. He wasn't willing to be defeated like this. His primordial spirit finally recovered. His aura grew stronger, and he counterattacked Su Yan. "You're the one who can't do it," Su Yan coldly shouted. His moves were bold, and his strength was peerless. Raging waves rolled in the vast sea. Huge waves rushed to the shore. "Who is that?" A large number of experts gathered at the shore. From this moment on, they were shocked to see a terrifying figure awakening at the end of the sea. It was like a supreme god-fiend that ruled heaven and earth. His roar shook the starry sky and was peerlessly domineering. A supreme overlord, a top, true immortal. Some people were shocked. Otherwise, it wouldn't be so domineering. The huge waves caused by the battle hit the shore. "It's Su Yan." Yuan and the others were surprised and quickly rushed to their destination. At the same time, Jin Yangyun was beaten to despair by Su Yan. His body was covered in blood, and all his bones were broken. Finally, Su Yan's foot stepped on Jin Yangyun. Jin Yangyun's chest rose and fell violently. His heart was filled with endless humiliation. However, he didn't dare to look directly at Su Yan, who was as cold as a supreme overlord. This person was too strong. He had shattered the pride in his heart. "I told you not to provoke me." Su Yan looked down at Jin Yangyun and said coldly, "Now tell me, who does the indestructible body belong to?" Begging Jin Yangyun for space in his heart. "I'll be adding more chapters today and tonight.